Good morning. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Los Angeles, California. My name is BrianEngelman. Today is Wednesday, July the 23rd, 2025, and this is the T-Dam Daily Show. Take a look at that logo right there. Ding. The T-Dam Daily Show on, ding, the new American media, because the old American media failed you. You know, it's okay if you listen to people that are going to approach things differently, and I have a take and you have a take, and let's just turn our cards up. Turn our cards up. You have a spade, you have a club, you have a diamond, you have a heart. You're approaching it from a team perspective, and from that perspective, you have different cards in that set, in that book or whatever you call it. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You kind of take your angles. People left the lying legacy media when they tried to present to you just a few too many times. It happened a few too many times. And by a few, I mean a quadrillion. Is that a real number? A quadrillion times. The lying legacy media. You can't call them mainstream media. There's nothing mainstream about them. They presented things to you that they knew to be false. Then they came back tomorrow and expected you to keep lapping it up. May I serve you another bowl of disgusting gruel? Sweet, nourishing gruel. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me sweet, nourishing gruel. And they lied to your face. It repeatedly did it for years with long, drawn-out, elaborate stunts. Not searching to figure out what's actually happening. Building an outline. Building a frame. Like the Amish who are going into North Carolina and building the frame of that community. You build a house, foundation, put the walls, put the roof, you box it in, then you can deal with the components inside. They built you the house of the story. Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Clinton, Obama, all of them. And for years, they used the media, number one, social media, to silence you. If you talked about the mostly peaceful protest of January 6th, who were complaining, saying there's no way this mashed potato, Joe Biden, got 81 million completely legitimate votes. We need to check the swing state fraud states. Arizona doesn't make sense. None of the bellwethers make sense. What were all these drop boxes? Nobody was checking signature verifications, not to mention the vulnerabilities in the electric voting systems. All of it. None of it felt trustworthy. Nothing. It doesn't need to be about any of those in particular. But that was framed a certain way to set up Trump, to block Trump from ever regaining power, to remove Trump from power in what many people thought was subverting the will of the American people. And for 4 years of Biden, with some say Barack Obama and his team pulling the puppet strings from behind the scenes, we watched an absolute nightmare unfold. And that's been our lot in life up until recently. But social media silenced you. They made sure that people like me couldn't earn a living. I couldn't advertise. Kicked off, demonetized, silenced, profiles removed, groups deleted, pages deleted, no opportunity to remedy any alleged issue. That is the level of coordination of the treason. That is showing just one card in the deck of 52 cards. What was happening, and they all had a plan. They all built a house of cards. They built it with a deck of cards. It looked the way it looked. But at the end of the day, it was built as a house of cards. It easily came down. And that's what Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is telling us, laying out the case. And the most obvious thing to see, because we've been yelling about it for 5 years, 6 years, for 8 years, 9 years, we've been watching this play out, wondering, okay, you can't do any of what they're doing. Why is this still allowed to happen? Why are they getting away with it? So now we're at a crossroads as a nation, trying to figure out where we go next. And we're here to unpack that each and every day here on the TNAM Daily Show. Thank you for joining us here on the New American Media, because the old American media failed you. But we're also going to pay a little bit more attention to Ozzy Osbourne throughout the show. And if you have comments, please type them in the sidebar. Oh, looks like the comments are already popping. Click like, click subscribe. Everybody over here on the side. Lake Leon over there, what's up? We got Nick Adams and Patriot Warrior Texas over on Rumble. That's great. There are Rumble rants where you can donate to the show that way. We are tip operated, much like if you're going to go hang out in a bar, maybe tip your bartender. We kind of, ask a similar thing. And you're all welcome to hang out at the party, by the way, because we're unpacking the news together. We're teaching each other. If we have a story wrong or some of the facts are need some context, we just try to talk it out. We will never intentionally lie to you with what we know to be a fake story. That's what the propagandists have done. They called that jumping the shark. Jumping the shark. That's a phrase when Fonzie on, Happy Days. I haven't thought about Happy Days in a while. He jumped a shark on a ramp with his motorcycle, and it's like, people said, all right, now you're stretching for material. By the way, tell that to South Park that just signed a 5-year, $1.5 billion deal to tell you 50 more stories, 10 episodes a year. Simpsons did it. Yeah, but the former, what they used to be called is the mainstream media. They used to get away with saying that. Lying legacy media. They lied to us a few too many times, and we disconnected, and they earned it. Colbert has been fired by CBS. Trump won his lawsuit against CBS. More of these are coming. It's all unfolding as we speak. So we're going to follow it, and we're going to talk about it and see what there is. There's also the specter of Jeffrey Epstein lurking in the background. Why is there nothing to see? Who decided that's how they were going to lay out the Epstein case? There's a lot we're trying to sort out here. Also on today's show, we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve. Rand Paul out there. Oh, Thomas Massie fighting with President Trump. I mean, that's not a great, you hate to see it. They both bring a lot to the table. Is there any way out of this? You've seen these public spats. What does that mean? Does it amount to a hill of beans at the end of the day? I don't know. But may we live in interesting times. So there's Lake Leon. Howdy. Deb, not in San Francisco. How are ya? Brianna. As I was referred to by a neighbor one time. This is the ghetto Brianna. 4 syllables on Brianna. Thanks for the reminder there. Hello, David. Up in Ontario, Canada, one of our favorite Canucks. Hello, David. Thanks for joining us today. All right, now wait a minute. Lake Leah. Oh, okay. So Patriot Warrior Texas is connected through X, posting into. Yeah, so you can leave your comments however you're watching. We want you to join the show and talk amongst yourselves on the side. We will try to get to some of the comments as we can. Today's show, we got a lot to get through, and we'll need to move fast, but I do want to make sure it's set up properly here. Nick Adams show. When is your first episode? Nick left some kind words and said we helped inspire him to ramp up his drop date for his first episode of the Nick Adams show. I have no idea what it would sound like, but he's been enjoying his time here, and we like having him here as a regular. Thank you, Nick Adams. Oh, and thank you to Nick Adams and Deb, for example. who are subscribed as Patreon members. So they're regular contributors, and thank you for that. That's super cool. Anybody else who would like to do that, we are on Patreon at The New American Media. Put it on the screen here if you want to deposit. Tip jars, Venmo, and Cash App at BrianEngelman, and PayPal is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. If you want to toss anything into the tip jar, thank you so much. But yes, the other places we are on the internet. The New American Media is on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube. Search The New American Media. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're on X at American_Media_. Subscribe to our podcast. It's called The Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. The Agree to Disagree Show. We sort of morphed. Agree to Disagree used to just be the general news show of the week. And in the course of 14 years, I think what I'm settling on is Agree to Disagree will most likely be when I have special guests on. I think. Or co-hosts or special guests. Blake and I did several years of shows. And I mean, I don't know. Technically, I didn't really even... I don't know. We were co-hosts. He was a guest. He was a producer. I was an engineer. We knocked out a ton of shows. Whatever that's called. But yeah, the podcast is called The Agree to Disagree Show, and it covers the TNAM Daily Show. So subscribe to that. We also have the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Intend to get to some more of those. And I did just speak with Mike Barra this morning. Might need a new logo. Might go ahead and add Jim Mitchell to the official lineup, or maybe he'll still be a regular reoccurring additional guest. And I did reach out to somebody else to see if someone else wanted to do a quick spot. So coming up very soon, we're thinking maybe on Tuesday afternoons. We'll see how it goes to set up the time. But an episode of Strictly Football coming up soon. Super big sports fans. I know it's not important. It's not important like Treason. And that's why we've dedicated more of our time to this. That's why we've gone all in this media endeavor, going to all the conventions last year, covering all sorts of events from Bundy Ranch to January 6th to Inauguration Day and beyond. Your support can keep us doing this. But yeah, it's been an all-in effort over the past few years. So join us in the multiple places at the bottom of the screen here where the New American Media has a presence. Lake Leon says, howdy, teacher. Yeah, because we talked. How did that come up? What do you remember the context of that? That's Lake Leon. That's John Boy. That's Mr. MAGA. He's got 100 names. Patriot Warrior, Texas. He's got 100 pseudonyms, and I'm still remembering a couple of them. I'm actually kind of surprised. But much like a bartender, you try to remember what your regulars are drinking. Names, whatever, but maybe what they're drinking, maybe where they're from. Nick Adams down there in Florida. Deb thinks I should open the show with a roll call and a greeting first before going into everything. Roll call. Huh. Well, here. It's not quite a roll call, but it is the intro to our show. Let's hit the intro to our show. Top off your beverage. And we will begin the show. Let's go.
your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Thank you all for joining us today. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show, hit copy on however you're watching it, and send it out to a couple of your friends and go, hey, join me in the chat room. We're all in here unpacking the news. There's a challenge of the day. Grab the show, hit share, and text it to a couple friends and go, hey, we're in the chat room talking about the stuff going on in the world. Join us in the chat room, would you? So yeah, roll call. Well, roll call essentially is what's going on here in the chat side, I think. I prefer that format, but it's just me. A cartwheel while doing the Tucker laugh. Yes, I do get requests for my Tucker laugh. What? I think what I'm going to do today is we're going to talk about Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne and Ozzy's solo career and his impact on the world. I think it's obvious to me that Ozzy Osbourne was one of the most prolific musicians of the modern era, hands down. I don't know, top 50, top 20, top 10, top 5. I mean, I don't know where you draw the line, but he's in that upper echelon of most. It's just prolific. So we're going to talk about Ozzy. We're going to talk about all of those things. But I was thinking about ranking the songs. So that would be my question to you, the audience. Question of the day, type it in the comments section. Question of the day. Mount Rushmore has 4 faces, right? I think it's 4. 4? Well, that's an Easter egg question of the day. 4? It's from an intro to a Korn song off their first album, I think. 4? Anyway, if I rank the Ozzy Osbourne songs, which ones for you? Give me 4 of your favorite Ozzy Osbourne creations. Type that into the comments of the day. No matter how you're watching this, if you're watching it live, that's cool. If you're watching it after the fact, type it in after the fact and keep the conversation going. Because in the comments, as we scroll through the comments, we're going to talk about those songs and why we don't prefer that one, what we like the most about it. Deb saying she wasn't into Ozzy. Did he worship the devil? Oh, there's a lot of takes on that. Ozzy definitely got into that topic for sure. But as we rank Black Sabbath songs, also rank my impressions. That's Lake Leon here asking me to do the Tucker laugh. Now I don't want to do it. Now I just want to work it in when I feel like, when we're not expecting it. Come on, Bart, say the line. Remember that from The Simpsons? I didn't do it. Yay! So there's that. Yeah, I really enjoy goofing around with impressions. I'm blown away by the best impressionists, and I'm glad that I can occasionally do something that can get some chuckles out of people. Whether it's my Kash Patel or my Tucker Carlson or my Barack Obama or the Trump or the Bobby Kennedy. I love doing impressions. It's fun. So there's a secondary question of the day. Rank your top 4 Brian impressions. 4 only. Only 4. All right. Nick saying, I hope the audience grows too big for a roll call. Yep. Well, when it grows too big and the comments are flowing too fast, that's what the Rumble rants are for. People donate on that button, and then it pins a comment to it. So it's kind of like it's a way to jump in with a flashing light into the program. It's kind of fun. But yeah, I agree. I want the audience too damn big to keep track of who anybody is. At some point, I'll have to start ignoring people. But then we'd lose a component to the show that makes it kind of fun. It's like we're all talking about this shit together. We're all unpacking it. Tell me in the comments, add the context, or say, hey, did you see this? Or share something on X, tag at American_media_, and then I can click on it and share it in real time. You can be the producer of the show. Can't show everything. We can't sidetrack the show all the time, but it is part of what makes it fun, is because we're doing this together. So yeah, I want the audience that big too. Yes, happy days indeed. Oh, okay. Deb is saying her nighttime show does a roll call. What is your nighttime show? What show is that? As people roll in by the hundreds, people feel welcome as they jump in. Great way to start and draw folks in to be included, just saying. That is exactly what I'm doing here. I mean, it wasn't right off of the jump, but I also needed to let the comments populate. So once the comments come in, we get to go. Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo, the best part of South Park. 5 years, 1.5 billion. It's so great. David Band says it's not federal and it has no reserve. Oh, yeah. We're going to listen to Rand Paul today. Absolutely. Yeah. What happened to the vault in Fort Knox? What happened there? Why haven't we moved forward on that? Deb wants to agree to disagree with my statement. There you go. That's what it exists for. And yes, we do teach each other on this show, but I do consider my role of a, I don't know. I've always been told, various people have pointed out how much I enjoy teaching. I really do like teaching people. I don't know. I sort of do that through this show. I consume, I won't bore you with how much I consume. Because in order to talk about this stuff appropriately, you sort of need to have the context. And in order to have the context, you need to put the time in. In order to put the time in, you can't work the other job. So it's like either this one's carrying you month to month, or it's something that's a drag. And it's been a labor of love. It's been awesome the past couple of years, but a recalibration. And the recalibration should just be growth. We 10x this show. We 100x this show. How much? What if we all envision this show 100xing? Right? I'm letting that sink in. Just 100x. Like, how quick can we 100x the show? That would be a recalibration. There's several recalibrations. Some of that might include shifting the time that the show goes live, which might work better for some people or not as good for others. But, nothing is there now, but a recalibration could just be 100xing the show. So we do teach each other. And I think that's why people come back, because I'm not pushing something. I'm not pushing an agenda. I'm not trying to sell you on something. Deb is drinking Kofefe, of course. And that's the question with Trump. Is he bringing all this attention to Epstein so that he can trick everyone into demanding the thing that, now I got you begging for the thing that's going to take out all these bad people? Or has he had his ear twisted like in the movie Tombstone and walked out the door like Billy Bob Thornton? All right, son, up you go. We're trying to figure that out. I don't know. But yeah, the Kofefe, if Trump says something, Trump knows how to get everybody talking about a topic. He is really trying to move past the Epstein thing now, but in moving past it, his strongest detractors are screaming the loudest, demanding. So my question, it's a question of the day. It's a random one. Well, I mean, not random, but I want to get your thoughts. Mike Johnson, how do you understand the Congress decision to take their break right now? What are the best arguments Mike Johnson has put out there and the Republicans for doing it? And is it fair how the Democrats are trying to say, oh, they're literally shutting down Congress so they don't have to address Epstein? By the way, this is Epstein who Biden, Harris, the deep state had access to for the last 4 years. They had as much time to demand anything on whatever timeline they wanted when they were in charge. They sense a weakness. They sense a vulnerability or complicity, like Trump. What is the story? Because they're jumping on this like they have something. Do they have something or not? So tell me your thoughts on Congress taking their break right now. Is it fair to say they're just hiding Epstein? And I mean, come on, from the people who had all the files for 4 years, you could have done anything you want. Shut up. That's not to say I don't want an answer to the story, because I do. Oh, I need to know what that was all about. But it's just a matter of what goes in what order. Hello, top of the morning to you, Unholy Hoax from San Antonio. Why was I had to think of David Robinson in the logo to get to that. Yes, I am, Nick. Culver City. When America was falling apart, I watched a ton of those History Channel documentaries about Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, the founding fathers, the great thinkers of our time. And that was when I joined. Culver City. Have not been active, moved away 6 years ago. But yeah, Los Angeles was a place where a lot of people are intentionally trying to screw you. And it's like, well, one of the major things, one of the only things, joining a fraternity, joining a group is like, well, I will never try to knowingly and intentionally try to screw you over. And I made a lot of great friends that way. Several friends that I still have to this day. Yeah, I had to sue a couple people out there. I was undefeated. Had to sue Cuba Gooding Sr. Good grief. Specifically, his management team. We put an event together, and I just needed the booking commission, and it wasn't coming through. And I'm like, fine, let me file the paperwork. And another one was a promoter. Promoter's like, all right, I'll bring you in to do these certain things, and we'll stretch out this concert series and help me out with this stuff. I'm like, all right, signed a contract, and then he changed his mind and changed the terms. I'm like, that's not really how this works. It doesn't work that way. Like, we signed a document, like, and he tried to screw me, so I just went to small claims court. But yeah, in a strange place like Los Angeles, it was good to be surrounded by people that would at least have your back. You know, some of my best friends, the people that would watch my cats if I had to leave town for a couple of days, you know, those are my brothers. If I had to make repairs or renovations to my home, and I did on several occasions, like I worked with my brothers. You know, it doesn't mean somebody will be perfect, but it means that they're not going to intentionally try to get one over on you. You know, so it wasn't working with any contractor can have its challenges and its cost overruns and its unexpected problems and timing issues and labor for it. Like, I get that. But end of the day, like, you start a project with one of your brothers, and it's like you're seeing it through. You're not going to leave somebody high and dry. Unlike some of my experiences with a lot of other contractors in a lot of other capacities, whether it's doing property management or on my own properties. It's been a challenge. So yeah. So you say you are interested. Yep, they say to what is it? To be one, ask one, and that there's no recruiting. Like, that's the whole kind of gist. Yeah, so any of your comments about Ozzy Osbourne and devil worship? I mean, Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. You know, he was out there talking about all sorts of interesting subject matter, but there's also a lot of stories about him not being into that type of stuff. Or maybe he used to, and then maybe he didn't, and maybe a lot of it was drug fueled and out of his mind, and Sharon saved him. And, you know, look, end of the day, you got a Christian story of redemption. If there's no redemption arc, if you can't be forgiven for transgressions, like, all right, everybody has to off themselves every time they do something that's unperfect. Like, that doesn't work. Yeah, Sharon and Ozzy, it's kind of a sweet story, an American story. I know they're British, you know, they're from England, but You know, it's more than just music with Ozzy Osbourne. Deb saying that music didn't resonate with me. Man, I've been going back listening to it. I mean, I would put If I Close My Eyes Forever with Lita Ford in my top 4. War Pigs. Oh, geez. There's so many good songs. I would definitely probably put See You on the Other Side, hands down. Those were the last words my brother said to me. So I've listened to that song a few times as they intubated him, ravaged by double pneumonia COVID, denied ivermectin, denied the Merrick protocols, denied the proper dosage of ivermectin, like 12 grams instead of 60 or milligrams or whatever the measurement was. Denied monoclonal antibodies at a time that they were just proving to be super helpful. Maybe some of that stuff could have helped. Maybe it wouldn't have. Who knows? Those were like the last words as he's ready to be intubated. And it worked either way. I'll see you on the other side of this intubation, or I'll see you on the other side of, wherever Ozzy landed, wherever he ended up. There's Ozzy Osbourne. My brother, the sommelier, and, you know, he's a longtime server, bartender, food and beverage, all sorts of stuff out in Hollywood, just doing private events at all the fancy things. Yeah, I always picture when someone goes to that realm, I envision my brother, like you see the pearly gates and you see people walking through, and it's like that Forever 27 with all the 27-year-old musicians like Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, who am I leaving out? Jim Morrison. You know, and honestly, talk about musicians who were taken too soon. I mean, honestly, we're all surprised Ozzy's made it for the past 4 decades, right? 5 decades. It's all been borrowed time. But a more prolific story you will not find. And yeah, just when you think of reality TV from the 90s and the early 2000s, that was the Osbournes. And in between the incoherent ramblings, and it was kind of funny to laugh at, and it was kind of sad to laugh at, but it was passionate. There was a lot of passion and, you know, bursts of thought and energy and frustrations. And I think we can relate to that. It was very relatable, you know. What do they say about heroes? You get the hero you need. Something is it the heroes you deserve, but you know, you get things resonate or they don't. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't the biggest Black Sabbath fan, but my God, going back and listening to the best, most iconic music you're going to find. I mean, the riffs. Because the story of Ozzy Osbourne is his vocal stylings and his persona on stage. But there's no unscrambling the eggs of just the funky, bluesy, dirty, groovy, funky, just rocking riffs and bass lines and drum beats and drum parts and drum fills and energy and just tone and timbre and just tempo and all of it. I mean, nothing's better. Of course, some things are better, but I mean, this has reached the echelon, the Ozzy catalog of what he's contributed to music. He's been in the upper echelon of the best for a very long time. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as both the vocalist and songwriter of Black Sabbath, but also for Ozzy Osbourne. These are 2 different careers. I talk on this channel, you know, do everything, turn. There's a season. What is that? Ephesians? To everything, there's a season. Ozzy had his Black Sabbath season. He had his solo season. I had my musician season. I had my promoter season. Being a musician, you learn how to be a promoter and work with promoters and vice versa. I've had my podcast season. I've had my private life season. I've been property management. I've done lots sales, consulting, videographer, film editor, documentarian, comedian. Like there's a lot of seasons. You know, imagine 24 hours in the day and imagine 24-hour seasons of things that I've focused on and worked on. And a lot of us are the same. But my God, the riffs and it just that I would love to sit here and play you a whole bunch of their songs. But that's not really possible because of the copyright, unfortunately. So I encourage everybody to go, type in Ozzy. So yeah, If I Close My Eyes Forever, his duet with Lita Ford. War Pigs, Iron Man. Oh gosh. I mean, there's no ending to how many great songs we can find. Let me read you the lyrics to War Pig. Let me finish the comments, then I'll get to War Pigs. Okay, quote of the day. Here's Lake Leon. Going off the rails on a crazy train. Mr. Crowley. Paranoid Iron Man. There we go. That's on his Mount Rushmore. Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, Paranoid. Crazy. That's how it goes. Yes. Anyway, Nick is saying no, he was not a devil worshiper. Yes, and I did share a video where he was asked that and he answered that. It's so secret he can't talk about it. Your Tucker laugh is the favorite part of the show. Yeah, there's variations on the Tucker laugh. You can take that a few different directions. Deb saying I need to watch Spaced Out Radio tonight. Opens the show with what you're. Who does Spaced Out Radio? I don't know it. If you disengage with your audience, they'll disengage from you. Oh, that's good advice, or a threat, or a warning, or sound advice, or all of it. Lake Leon, I can be producer of the show. Pay me what I'm owed. Where's the cat? We need our logo cat. Tag us with the cat saying, pay us what we're owed. Yeah, Nimbus, the producer of the show, saying, pay me what I'm owed. Then we'll talk. My brain is a sponge, lots of holes. You can't DM me on X. Really? I don't know if that's a setting I need to change. You can follow my personal X at Twist of Nothing. That's the name of my band. At Twist of Nothing. My personal X. I didn't know I had no DMs set up because I send DMs out to people. Settings and privacy. Where's DMs? No results for DM settings. I don't know how to do that. My account, yes. Privacy? Direct messages. Oh. People I follow will always be able to message me. Yeah. All right. Direct messages turned on. Let's see what happens there. Hey, thanks for sharing that on X. There's Nick Adams. Follow Nick at Nick Adams 164117. Those are his dimensions. So stupid. Hey, Lake Leon, you said you like to design things. Who's the CAD programmer? Isn't that you? You're the CAD programmer? Type into your CAD program something with the dimensions of, let me read his. at. So Nick Adams is at 164117. 164117. Can you design an image? Because Lake Leon sent a funny image on X a couple days ago. He said he drew a birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein. So draw me a guy with the dimensions. What did I say of 164117? They say that the traditional 36, 24, 36, the hourglass figure of a woman. Anyway, we're off on a sidebar. I'm going to get to the War Pigs lyrics because it was relevant. And are there War Pigs today? What's the song Iron Man about? I mean, should we know this stuff? Yeah, I think we should take a second and think about it. Especially when we lose influential people, we should ponder the meaning and go back and look at their body of work. I enjoy doing it. It's something I need to do. It's something I enjoy doing, something I want to do. All right, so I fixed the account. You can now send a direct message. Top of the morning to you, Unholy Hoax. Maybe another option on Facebook Messenger. Let's see. Yeah, David, that is a good point. I mean, you listen to the 17th letter of the alphabet people, and they're like, August is going to be a hot month. And you're like, I mean, yes, August is traditionally one of the hottest months on record, although July has been scorching. But yeah, I mean, there usually is a summer break, but I was reading there's a whole bunch of positions that haven't been confirmed. Like, stay and vote. Get all the people in. Like, come on, man. Like, full speed ahead. You got to go fast. Especially at this time where you need all hands on deck. You have the current president accusing the past president of treason, staging a coup to have him thrown in jail for the rest of his life, terrorizing him at home and rifling through his wife's laundry, getting his mug shot and charging him 100 trumped up charges. Yeah, it's sort of all hands on deck time. I would like to see the Republicans working a little harder, a little faster. So yeah, no surprise, they're always taking breaks. Here in the Wild West, we say howdy, ma'am. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Yeah, tumbleweeds in Sacramento. I do miss the American Southwest. I was watching some Earthship, one of my Earthship documentaries out in New Mexico. Deb said she watched the Osbournes, and they were really fun to watch, and the family dynamic was very sweet. Yeah, true. Kind of fun. And then like the overlap into The View or something. That's what Sharon was doing. And now she's on one of those shows where she judges singers. Yeah, people like them, not just the music. Exactly. They were bigger than life. They were bigger than just musicians. It was a whole, like I said, an American success story and failures and fuck ups and, fighting to keep going and staying together and helping each other out. America lost some of that. It turned into me, and I'll jump off the ship as quick as I can. There's been a lot of that. Like where do loyalties lie? So yeah, people like them as people. Yes, Nick, I'm sorry about my brother too. Cheers to Chris Engelman. But the thank you. The thought I was getting at with my brother that I think I just took a long circuitous route, never really buttoned up. There's a photo of my brother with a bottle of wine. He was a sommelier, did all the tests and became that, and then he worked in that field in various roles, various places. And there's a photo of him that was used for a lot of the obituary stuff, and it was just a smiling picture of him holding a nice bottle of wine or champagne or something. I forget what it was. But I just envision my brother Chris being the person when you walk through the pearly gates. Let's imagine that's where Ozzy ends up, goes up the stairwell and he kind of walks in, and it's a inviting facility with tables and stuff. And it's the very first thing he sees. It funnels right up to the bar. Ozzy sits down, orders his favorite beverage, except he doesn't order it. It's my brother gets it. He delivers it as he's walking up because he knows what he's going to ask for. And that begins the Welcome to Heaven tour. And like in my mind's eye, I see that. So yeah, see you on the other side. I mean, we don't know what happens on the other side. We don't really know what we're doing here, right? Is it a video game? Are we clones? Like, are we advanced robots? Imagine if the Tesla robots get so advanced they become human-like. What if you design them so that they can self-replicate, and then you've designed human life? I mean, do we just go in technological cycles? Like we bounce around the solar system? Like, what is any of this? What is the other side? And so I like thinking about these esoteric issues. You know, there's plenty of music out there about having a good time, rock and roll every night and party every day. That's cool. You know, a lot of hip hop and being out and partying, and that's cool. But I like the big issues, and Ozzy brought attention to that in good ways and in weird ways and interesting ways. Oh, I don't know if I've watched that. Ozzy and Kelly doing a duet for Changes. I didn't know that. Deb says he almost died a few times during the Osbournes. There was the ATV thing, right? He flipped his ATV, hurt his neck or broke his neck or something. I'm trying to remember. I don't recall every detail. Watching his kids was insightful to having a life like that, and how it's not glamorous at all. Oh, it's a lot of work. Everything's a lot of work. It's just a matter of where is your passion for your projects. Everything is, you know, glamour. I mean, what's Biggie said, "Mo money, mo problems," but you know, everybody's got their issues, I guess. Sharon definitely saved her family. All right, Nick is going to nominate Iron Man and Crazy Train. Some of the first riffs he learned on guitar. You can mouth guitar his riffs. Yeah, but then I started very riff heavy, very groovy, very headbanging, very, you know, Metallica took some of that, you know, Ozzy being out first and just the style of Metallica and thrash metal kind of, if you spun up, I'm probably trying to say sped up. Yeah, if you spun the rotations faster, there's various ways that could have worked. Or is the record spinning? You could click it as it spins. You could spin it up so it's spun up. Okay, so what I was saying was accurate. It would have worked, but I probably meant to say speed up. But yeah, thrash metal and some of those early Injustice for All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Kirk Hammett, James Hetfield guitar riffs. I mean, it's very, you can find some really groovy breakdowns within all of the other stuff happening. And yeah, the influence that they had on modern music was unbelievable. I don't think I ever covered an Ozzy song or a Sabbath song. Should have, though. My guitar player in my band in high school was very into this stuff. That was a missed opportunity. I could sing like Ozzy Osbourne, I think. I could have handled a song. That's a good point, though. You can mouth guitar his riffs. Deb telling us that Bible chapter Ecclesiastes 3:1-8 talks about a time for everything and its seasons. Yes. To everything, a season. Spaced Out Radio, 9 p.m. Who does that? And you'll see me in chat. You can give me a shout out or jump in. I guarantee you as a newbie, you'll get a greeting from the host. Who is the host? What is it? Spaced Out Radio. I'm always looking to find new stuff for sure. Dropping golden nuggets here. Hey, look, I'm giving you a chance to let us all hear it. The video clip of the show referenced Spaced Out Radio SOR. Jerry Nadler in the comments. He said, if I made he says, if I would make a guy at those dimensions, I would end up creating a guy that looks like Jerry Nadler. Let me share this image with you. Jerry Nadler. Who wears their clothes this way? Oh, that's funny, people. Oh, that's so good. That's accurate. I don't see why that's funny. That's fantastic, everyone. All right, let's pull him off the screen for a second. Jerry Nadler. Why? God, now I got all these images up on the screen here. All right, I want to share with you the lyrics. Let's do a couple songs here. Then we'll jump into the news. Tag us on X at American_media_ for any story you want us to get to today. Tag us on X at American_media_, and I'll see about potentially addressing some of these stories. I'll talk about Ozzy Osbourne here. War pigs. Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction. Sorcerer of death's construction. There we go. Let's do it like that. In the fields, the bodies burning. Burning. I can't start singing this. As the war machine keeps turning. This is actually gonna be hard. I had no idea. The song is so riff heavy. I don't know how to speak the words. The way they're set up is little bursts and then little drum fills, little guitar, little hammer on. This is a unforeseen challenge. In the fields, the bodies burning as the war machine keeps turning. Death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh, Lord, yeah. Politicians hide themselves away. They only started the war. Why should they go out to fight? They leave that role to the poor. Yeah. Time will tell on their power minds. Making war just for fun. Treating people just like pawns in chess. Wait till their judgment day comes. Now in darkness, world stops turning. Ashes where their bodies burning. No more war pigs have the power. Let me say it again. No more war pigs have the power. Hand of God has struck the hour. Day of judgment, God is calling. On their knees, the war pigs crawling. Begging mercy for their sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings. Oh, Lord, yeah. So I don't know if you've ever taken the time to check out those lyrics. Do we have warfare going on these days? A little bit of that. How about Mama, I'm Coming Home? I mean, that one is probably the easiest, right? That was the last song that he performed, and it's literally like, you know, I'm coming home. Shit, my brother joined his mother. Mama, I'm coming home. You know, he wrote about this stuff. I'll see you on the other side. Mama, I'm coming home. Lyrics here from Mama, I'm Coming Home from 1991. Ozzy Osbourne, solo. Times have changed and times are strange. Here I come, but I ain't the same. Mama, I'm coming home. Times go by, seems to be. You could have been a better friend to me. Mama, I'm coming home. You took me in and drove me out. Yeah, you had me hypnotized. Lost and found and turned around by the fire in your eyes. You made me cry, you told me lies, but I can't stand to say goodbye. Mama, I'm coming home. I could be right, I could be wrong. It hurts so bad, it's been so long. Mama, I'm coming home. Selfish love, yeah, we're both alone. The ride before the fall. But I'm not going to take this heart of stone. I just got to have it all. I've seen your face 100 times every day we've been apart. And I don't care about the sunshine, yeah. Because, Mama, I'm coming home. You took me in and drove me out. Yeah, you had me hypnotized. Lost and found, turned around by the fire in your eyes. I've seen your face 1,000 times. Every day we've been apart. And I don't care about the sunshine, yeah, because Mama, I'm coming home. I mean, that's got to be in his most epic songs. God, so many good songs. Iron Man. Where are we at? Yeah, play it. Is it not? Has he lost his mind? Can he see or is he blind? Can he walk at all, or if he moves, will he fall? Is he alive or dead? He has thoughts within his head. Has he thoughts in his head? We'll just pass him there. Why should we even care? He was turned to steel in the great magnetic field when he traveled time for the future of mankind. Now I'm saying it the other way. Nobody wants him. He just stares at the world, planning his vengeance that he will soon unfurl. Now the time is here for Iron Man to spread fear. Vengeance from the grave kills the people he once saved. Nobody wants him. They just turn their heads. Nobody helps him. Now he has revenge. Heavy boots of lead fills his victims full of dread, running as fast as they can. Iron Man lives again. I mean, we're making robots. Robots are going to be everywhere in just about no time. Do the robots have thoughts? Do the robots have... How is this going to play out? I mean, that's an existential question that I don't think we have determined. What is that spark? What is the singularity, the merging of man and machine? The Singularity by Ray Kurzweil. Here's Crazy Train. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as foes. That was terrible. Millions of people living as foes. Maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate. I mean, I think he described himself as like they were like a hippie band. As weird as it sounds, they were sort of a peace and love hippie band, but kind of like helping create a new genre of heavy metal or whatever exactly they fall into. Hard rock, heavy metal. So many genres overlap in the Venn diagram. Mental wounds not healing. Life's a bitter shame. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Come on. Is that not the best lyrics you could have to try to describe what the fuck is happening in 2025? You know? Yeah, I think it's mental wounds not healing. Life's a bitter shame. You know, they say ignorance is bliss. I mean, it's not fun having to go down these rabbit holes and find the things in the shadows that need to be dealt with. Why would we want to? And life is feel like a bitter shame a lot of times. So when you can make some progress, when you can fix some stuff, you might want to go as fast as you can with all of your resources, all hands on deck kind of style. But yeah, going off the rails on a crazy train. I've listened to preachers. I've listened to fools. I've watched all the dropouts who make their own rules. One person conditioned to rule and control. The media sells it, and you live the role. Come on. One person conditioned to rule and control. The media sells it, and you live the role. Mental wounds still screaming, driving me insane. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. I know that things are going wrong for me. You got to listen to my words. Yeah, yeah. Heirs of a cold war, that's what we've become. Inheriting troubles, I'm mentally numb. Crazy, I just cannot bear. I'm living with something that just isn't fair. Mental wounds not healing, who and what's to blame? Going off the rails on a crazy train. So many iconic songs. No More Tears. Mr. Crowley, a song about Aleister Crowley. Mr. Crowley, what went on in your head? Oh, Mr. Crowley, did you talk to the dead? Your lifestyle to me seemed so tragic with the thrill of it all. You fooled all the people with magic. Yeah, you waited on Satan's call. Mr. Charming, did you think you were pure? Mr. Alarming, in nocturnal rapport. That's a wordy turn of phrase. Uncovering things that were sacred, manifest on this earth. Conceived in the eye of a secret, and they scattered the afterbirth. Ooh. Mr. Crowley, won't you ride my white horse? Mr. Crowley, it's symbolic, of course. Approaching a time that is classic, I hear that maiden's call. Approaching a time that is drastic, standing with their backs to the wall. Was it polemically sent? I want to know what you meant. So many great songs. I think there's one more I wanted to get to. Or if it won't let me go back, that's... Yeah, If I Close My Eyes Forever is a great one. This one from 95. See You on the Other Side. Voices, 1,000 voices whispering the time has passed for choices. Golden days are passing over. Yeah, I can't seem to see you, baby, although my eyes are open wide. But I know I'll see you once more when I see you on the other side. Leaving, I hate to see you cry. Grieving, I hate to say goodbye. Dust and ash forever. Though I know we must be parted, as sure as stars are in the sky, I'm gonna see when it comes to glory, and I'll see you on the other side. Never thought I'd feel like this. Strange to be alone, yeah, but we'll be together, carved in stone. Hold me tight, I'm falling. Far away, distant voices calling. I'm so cold, I need you, darling. I was down, but now I'm flying straight across the great divide. I know you're crying, but I'll stop you crying when I see you on the other side. So, there's Ozzy Osbourne, everybody. Ozzy freaking Osbourne, who, as Unholy Hoax says, was banned in San Antonio for peeing on the Alamo in the 1980s. Oh, he was a character. Nick Adams has a Black Sabbath playlist going at the shop today. What is the shop? You work in metal, Nick? You work in metal? Yeah, the demons do seem to be in charge, but we will win. In the end, we will win, we will win, we will win. What's that from? Oh, that's a question of the day. In the end, we will win, we will win, we will win. What's that from? All right, we're done with the Ozzy talk. She's like, I'm gonna go listen to Mike. I don't want to go over Ozzy Osbourne for 5 minutes. No, it's fine. There's a lot to get to. But, I can't play the music. That's how you're gonna get it. But just putting a little extra attention on the lyrics on a day like this, I definitely love doing it that way. War Pigs and Iron Man. I like the themes are very important and they're timely. On top of everything else. Unholy Hoax. I can appreciate Black Sabbath and Ozzy solo stuff, but I'm not a fan. I'm into Def Leppard, Cinderella, Poison, Living Colour, Motley Crue. Look in my eyes, what do you see? I'm a cult of personality. I played that for Izzy. I'm like, dude, do you even know about Living Colour? He's like, Ugh, that's it. And that little stutter, bump, 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 right before the song drops. Oh, yeah, I love Living Color, and I've definitely had my phases of Def Leppard, Cinderella, Poison, Motley, hands down. I started a Black Sabbath Ozzy playlist, and then it suggested it just jumped to Slaughter. What was the name? Anyway, yeah, it just takes you back to like another genre of music at a different time. But yeah, Ozzy performed just a couple weeks ago. And it also calls into question, did Ozzy participate in something that he chose to send him to the other side? Scott Adams, I watch his shows, and he's discussed having the same affliction that Joe Biden has, and that his time was running out and it was getting too painful to his body. He was just deteriorating. He couldn't, everything was painful, and California has an option for a humane way to transition to the other side when everything starts breaking down. And that's an interesting topic too. So I don't know exactly. Ozzy had advanced Parkinson's, but it's another topic to talk about for sure. Oh, a smoke shop. That checks out. Not in Lewiston, Maine, though. Not in Lewiston, Maine, in Florida. All right, let's go through the news. Nick Sorter reporting, Barack Obama's office has just released a statement on his Russia collusion hoax. Here, you know what? Hold on. That was a lot. I think we need a palate cleanser. So let's cleanse the palate with the hard reset as we get to today's news.
Your guide to the truth. The new AmericanMedia.com.
So yeah, the voice of that is Sean Flynn. He was the drummer in my band. And yes, I was the drummer of my band. It's a long story. We rotated instruments, and we combined bands one time to continue playing. And that's what took us to Los Angeles, actually. But yeah, that's Sean's voice. So Sean is on the other side with my brother. So when Ozzy walks in, I envision Sean and my brother. Sean's probably hanging out at the bar being a smartass. My brother's being accommodating and putting his favorite beverage right there. That's what I envisioned going to the other side. I just envision Chris welcoming everybody. And it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of fun there. But yeah, Sean went to the other side in a motorcycle crash on the Pacific Coast Highway. Yeah. I mean, look, we are all primed to transition to the other side. We just don't know when. And it's just a matter of what are we going to choose to do with the time we have. And we don't know how long we have. So it's always like immediate gratification versus long-term strategic planning. What is the right way to live your life? I don't know. I don't know. Does anyone know? Anyway. All right, so that's the palate cleanser. Let's get to the news. Nick Sorter reports Barack Obama's office just released a statement on his Russia collusion hoax. Obama is terrified. Quote, out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. End quote. Nick says, lawyer up, bud. Mo Smith says Obama is the king of deflection and deception, so he should be worried. Nick says his lies have been exposed. He'll forever be remembered as an evil, corrupt piece of trash. Hopefully he'll have plenty of time to ponder that from a prison cell at some point. And we're just asking, when are the indictments? The whole group of them in this crime of the century, they all knew about it. This from Coppola Films. Let's watch. They all knew. This was knowing and intentional. It wasn't that we unpacked the story incorrectly. It wasn't that we had an opinion on it, but that was based on information that, oh, well, I thought that's what it was about. You could watch a selectively edited clip of George Floyd, for example, and have one opinion, or perhaps you could watch the entirety of the traffic stop, then the arrest, and then into the back of the cop car as one entire scene that most of the country never witnessed. Nobody watched that. Nobody bothered to. Nobody decided to show it. So you had a partial reaction to something based on incomplete information. Deb says she's back. She didn't transition to the other side yet. That's fun. See, that's well played. That was a funny joke right there. Oh, yeah. Nobody's forgetting Hillary. No. These people thought they were invincible. Either they are or they aren't. We cannot have in America if this is something that we can't have a country if this is the standard operating protocol. It's not sustainable. And there are words for things like this, and it's called treason. So let's play the greatest hits here. Barack Obama. I told Michelle the other day, the whole group, we all knew about it. We all knew. They're saying this is the greatest okie doke of the century, or some say the greatest crime of the century. Well, at least I was president. Remember he said that? At least I was president. He never thought Trump would win. Well, here you go. Where's the volume? Wait, why did it do that? Here we go. We're still sharing it? Perfect. Here we go.
Joe Biden knew about it.
Why is there music in the background? Doggone it. Joe Biden knew about it. Comey. Brennan Clapper.
They all knew about it.
They all knew. Trump's never going to become president, right? Says Lisa Page. Peter Strzok. No, he won't. We'll stop it.
The lover struck. They all knew about it.
Yep, their lover.
Documented. We have it in text.
They have it documented in text. I can't play it because of the music. Treason.
It happened again.
Now the music's too loud. Just watch the video.
Your president.
Yeah, it goes right to Obama. There, oh, look at that. Right there in a jail cell. How's that look? We need to visualize that. When do the indictments drop? Button. There we go. We'll leave that. How many of you are following the New American Media on Instagram? If you follow us on Instagram at the top, all those little stories, that's the stuff we discuss on the show. All right. So here is a philosophy. Here's a theory. I'm not saying I subscribe to this, but I am saying I don't understand the Epstein story. I don't fully understand it. None of us could. We don't have all the information. We were told that stuff was going to be released, and then we were told there was nothing to release. It feels super sketchy. So was the information that was created set to exonerate all Democrat involvement and to highlight and frame the other side? And I'll frame them. I'm framing up the other side. You know I'll frame them. I'm framing up the other side. That's the story. Holy shit. That's a good. All right. So where's our TNAM meme team? Who can turn that into a song? You know I'll frame them. I'm framing up the other side. And set it to Ozzy's See You on the Other Side. Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Clinton, Obama, they all framed Trump. Pelosi, Kinzinger, Cheney, they all framed Trump. Colbert, Kimmel, they all framed Trump. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're damn right. The media and the entertainment puppets are a part of this. You're damn right. They don't get to wash their hands of this and walk away. They were engaged in an ongoing RICO conspiracy coup, violating the civil liberties of an American to destroy a political movement, because we had finally had enough of being robbed and replaced and abused and our currency inflated into pointlessness. There has been a decades-long stratagem, a grand plan with a grand conspiracy, and this runs deep. So, in the absence of knowing all of the information, how about this one? Leverage or collapse. Have you heard this theory? Take a listen to this and tell me what you're thinking about this theory.
The day after the real proof drops. Not rumors or flight logs, but undeniable footage of world leaders doing hideous, unmentionable things to children. The world reacts with horror. Governments crumble. Markets collapse.
And most of us say, all right, cool, let it collapse. If a system is built on that type of stuff, it needs to come down, burn it down. I need to see it come down, suck it down, flush it down. Question of the day, who wrote that lyric? I did reference it a few days ago, I believe. So if you remember, type it in the comments. QOTD, who wrote those lyrics? I want to see it come down, suck it down, flush it down. So if all this chaos occurs by exposing it, is it worth it? Well, let's talk this through, shall we?
Chaos spreads. Why? Because when power is suddenly removed without a plan, a vacuum forms, and nature abhors a vacuum. Now imagine you hold that proof, evidence implicating presidents, billionaires, architects of global control. You could release it, or you could use it to force them to surrender, dismantle their networks, and retreat without war. That's not corruption. That's leverage.
Okay. It's a theory. You know how Trump operates, right? You've seen it. Okay, just before we even get started on the Epstein thing, just if the Democrats had something they could have bludgeoned President Trump with over the past 4 years while they were trying to sue him into oblivion, to lock him up for life, taking shots in Butler, Pennsylvania at him, trying to remove him any way possible, framing him for an insurrection. And we're going to go over there and make our voices heard peacefully and patriotically. Pelosi turned that into some insurrection as they rammed through. Nope. Trump lost. I remember talking to people from the other side, and they're just going, come on, everybody knows Trump didn't lose. But people are just so sick of him at this point with the COVID and everything, all the craziness and the media. Everybody's just sick of him. It's been too much. Somebody close to me told me that. I was like, well, if the other side is seeing it, then at least that's honest. At least Joe Biden, the most popular person ever, 81 million totally legitimate votes. By the way, for countervailing views on health and elections, such as the 2020 completely, totally legitimate election of Joe Biden, 81 million totally legitimate votes from total citizens with no monkey business. Yeah, of course, the most popular person of all time. You saw the way he raised Hunter to be an upstanding young man and showered inappropriately with his daughter, according to the Ashley Biden diaries, if you consider that, or the guy that would inappropriately touch children and women, and they would like cringe and recoil as if a literal demon was putting their cold and icy claws into their back, into their soul, as if dealing with a literal demon. Yeah, that's Joe Biden. Of course that guy would get 81 million totally legitimate votes because Orange Man bad or something. So yeah, I have to give you countervailing views scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I say this to you under duress. Trying to blink. I don't know if I did that right. I was supposed to say SOS. Those are your countervailing views on health and elections. Go to cdc.gov, who.int, and cisa.gov/rumor control, because they'll tell you that 2020 was the only free and fair election in the history of elections. But that being said, if they had something that would have taken Trump out of the race, don't you think they would have shown it? So what could they have put in a file to make the entire Trump team turn around? Did they frame him with something? And did they wipe clean all of their fingerprints? No Bill Gates, no Bill Clinton, nobody named Bill. Maybe Bill Cosby. Allegedly. No, I don't know. Or is Trump using this as leverage? Saying, hey, brother, man, I got you. But look, we're even jumping past the story. Did Trump and Bill Barr allow Epstein to do himself in? Or did Donald Trump and Bill Barr in that facility allow someone else to do Epstein in? Or did Donald Trump and Bill Barr spring Epstein out because he had dirt on everyone and he was an asset and he could start building his case from behind the scenes over the years to put the whole case together, to have everyone dead to rights? Why would that be possible? But right from the jump, there's three options that I don't know what happened. The official story is that Epstein offed himself. So I guess we start there. That was incompetence or that was complicity to silence him? That happened under Trump and Barr. We're trying to understand what it means, but I don't know. Now that we have the information, what happens with it? And what is it actually? Is it just someone that throws the parties and has the connections and there's always models around and some of them are on the younger side? Or is it like awful stuff to a 4-year-old and it's like you got to participate in something bad and then they have leverage over you, so you're never going to speak out on them because they know that you would out yourself or something, some version of that? That's what a lot of people are suspecting, wondering. Is Trump in on it? Is Trump trustworthy? I just ask if they had something that they could have used for 4 years. There's no scenario in my mind where they wouldn't use it. They would have edited the same stuff out and they would have framed him and just dropped it and said, this is why we've been trying to keep this creep out of here. He was the main guy. They would have turned it into a whole different story. But now they're going to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell and she's going to tell us what the story is. How do we believe her? By the way, she didn't off herself either. Convicted of doing nothing to no one. No victims and no Johns. And you're like, what even is the story? He's Mossad or he's not. He's CIA or he's not. Oh, he was around. Outer ring, middle ring, inner ring, bullseye. You know how Trump operates. He blurts out tariffs. There's going to be tariffs on everybody. We're not dealing with this anymore. Everybody needs to renegotiate. Everything's up for grabs. Reach out to our people. We want to renegotiate everything with you. America's under new leadership. And then he walks things back. Oh, and there's going to be tariffs. And then, okay, well, we're going to do this and we'll walk the tariffs back. Oh, nope, they're acting out again. The tariffs are back. But it's a blurt and then a back away. A blurt and then a back away. And there is an art to a deal. Remember, everybody was talking about Greenland and Canada. Should we acquire them? Should we merge? Can we purchase them? Would it make sense? And we're talking strategically about the shipping routes. That was an important issue. And guess what? He got everybody to talk about it. I find it hard to believe that he would think he could brush this under the rug, which leads me to wonder, is it something that he wants the left to be screaming about because he knows he's got them, because he's had them since they busted Epstein 6 years ago. Busted him into witness relocation or offed him so he couldn't talk, or just let him take care of himself, or it was just a horrible series of coincidences. But then why release a video that has obviously been edited and claim it wasn't? Are they exposing how Biden's team altered the documents? We don't even know the story, but my point is this. If he had everyone dead to rights, calls a meeting and says, close the door, open up your laptop, I'm going to link up with this. I want to show you a few things. Patriot Warrior Texas says, that's it. What's it? What does that mean? Is that an old comment or a new one? I just noticed it now. That's it. What's it? Make sure you leave your comments as sentences so I can go back to it. So, Deb, you don't think that Trump is a pedo. You spoke out. You said one of the regular channels did a show that tried to convince you that Trump was a bad guy, and you spoke out and held him to the fire, and you didn't think that Trump's a part of that. Yeah, I don't see how. Oh, yeah, they'll charge him for paying back a loan. That's not a crime. Oh, in Georgia, election interference. What? To call out the fraud and separate the fraudulent votes in a system that, like, there were 20 different people pointing at 20 different major issues and no court wanted to take it. And they all put their hands up and said, oh, you don't have jurisdiction, or you don't have not jurisdiction. What's the phrase? Standing. You don't have standing. You can't bring this case. You don't have standing. Nobody can challenge it. And well, then if nobody can challenge how an election was handled, how do you challenge it? The Supreme Court wouldn't touch it. And they just tried to, no, we're going to ram this through whether you like it or not. And people did not like it. So my point is with Trump, what if he has the leverage and he's negotiating a stand down? That's what this post is putting out there as a question. What if? Because there are so many what if things that I'm trying to imagine right now. It's hard to focus on any one of them because we don't know what we don't know. And I'm going to be fair enough to admit that. And I think we all need to. We have bits and pieces and we think we sort of know what this story is, but I don't think we do. But if Trump had leverage, would he use it to get everybody to stand down? He's going to collect payment from all these companies that wronged him. He's going to get these people thrown out. They're going to lose their jobs. The propagandists, maybe the treason list doesn't go to Guantanamo Bay and face capital punishment charges if they all stand down. Are you seeing people start to stand down? Maybe. Seeing people exit stage left? Maybe. But what if? What if he's using it as leverage, which is why he ran it out there? Well, we're going to
leverage this
thing. And they go, you wouldn't. He goes, oh, yeah? Watch me. Pam presses his Diet Coke button. Hey, Pam. Yes, Mr. President. I don't do a Pam Bondi. I need to learn how to do a Pam Bondi. I can do the Cash Patel. We're not going to re-victimize the women on that list by releasing anything. Also, there is no list of files with people in compromising positions. Which one is it, Cash? Who's running the messaging here? Because it's all over the place. Or did Trump say, run out there phase one, scare them, and then we'll come back and negotiate? Now, like, no, don't do it. Oh, my God, I didn't think you were going to do it. Holy shit. Trump, no. What do you need? You want $30 million to settle this? You know, and I'm not saying Paramount specifically or Steven Crowder specifically, but what if it is a negotiation behind the scenes now to punish them all and to clear the deck, to kind of hit reset on this entire corrupt regime? But how do you do that if there's not going to be justice? Because the next group is going to say, you know what? We can take out Kennedy because we thought he was a threat. We didn't like the cut of his jib, so we just removed him. Well, they determine that, or the people get to vote on that and determine that. We determine something different. You don't get to veto us. Or do you? Do you get to veto us? And that's the story of this. Who is in charge of who? Is Trump calling the shots? Is Netanyahu calling the shots? Is Putin calling the shots? Oh, he's a Putin puppet. You know, everybody does the Superman, the Spider-Man meme. They go, oh, no, you, no, it was you. No, you're talking about, no, I didn't, no, it wasn't me. Okay. Everyone's cross-talking each other. Nobody's accepting accountability. But yeah, all we can do is speculate, and in the absence of information, that's perfect. In the absence of information, speculation runs rampant. That is my go-to catchphrase. I don't know how many times I've said it. I don't know if Grok could do a search on all of my shows and find out. Probably several. But what if? Because I can't really make sense of the story. I can't. I'm having a hard time getting past if there was stuff. Why didn't it come out during those 4 years to kneecap Trump as an October surprise, and then he can't win? That didn't happen. Why? Anyway, what if leverage is how he's negotiating behind the scenes? Continue.
This is how you remove power without triggering collapse. To the doubters who say Trump is on the list, ask yourself, if that were true, why did they deploy everything to stop him?
Everything under the sun.
Lawfare, fake investigations, a CIA-signed Russia hoax, even attempts on his life.
And they some of the two key words: knowingly, intentionally. Knowingly. What am I saying? Knowingly and intentionally. Premeditated, ongoing, Rico.
If they had the leverage on Trump, they would have used it already.
I can't.
But they haven't, because they don't. I wish Trump didn't have to lie. I wish there were another way. Maybe this bizarre, out of sync with MAGA behavior is the wink and the nod. Maybe acting out of character is the message.
It is out of character. Bongino and Patel, I mean, they seem to act like, you know, they like a funeral, like they're blinking SOS. Like, I can't tell you I can't. And they're doing it. They're going along with it. The messaging is lousy. It's not like, we were told to give me all the files. What they sent, they were supposed to be here by Monday. We didn't get anything. We didn't get anything usable. They either destroyed it. We don't know what to think, but we only have what we have, and there's nothing in here. Yeah, I said I have it on my desk. I said deliver it by the end of working day, and I went through everything there. There was nothing to say. Like, I thought there were files. They didn't even explain it properly. That's the part that makes no sense. Where's Susie Wiles or Trump orchestra? Instead, it kind of looks like they're just deflecting. And you want to talk about, they said, Sir Epstein, we got to talk about it. I don't get it. It just feels like you're like, what? And then there are pictures, and you're going, what are we talking about here? But it is out of character. Are they winking and telling you, hold on a second? It's a 4-year term. We're 6 months in. We're doing this in a certain order for a certain reason. Okay. I could back off for a second and accept that, but they're not saying that. Maybe they're not saying that because they got other plans in place, and they want the other side to believe that they got them on the ropes. Start screaming louder. Release the tape. Release the tape. And I didn't want to, but here we go. It's not complicated. You can blur an entire outline and show a person. And by the way, how hard is it to Photoshop a face onto somebody with AI right now? Did they need to drag this out long enough so there's plausible deniability? There are so many potentialities here. I don't know. But what if they are trying to wink right now? What if we don't have to put this issue aside and we don't have to stop looking into it, but we hold on for a second and deal with a couple of other things in a different order? After 6 years, can we handle that? I can handle that. But where's the accountability? Where are the indictments? Where are the perp walks? Where are the mechanisms, the levers of justice here to sort this stuff out? I don't know.
This isn't about feelings. It's not about outrage or hashtags. It's about power and how it's strategically neutralized. You don't take down the Illuminati or New World Order with a lawsuit. You do it with leverage. Silent, invisible, world-shaping leverage. My friends, we are all anonymous, and welcome to the real world.
Dr. Marks here. I'm the gentleman that was on the Sean Ryan podcast that talked about pedophilia and explained how there are networks. This is coming from someone who, one, hunts pedophiles and protects children through our task force. This is the reality that I want people to understand.
And the reason why the Epstein list will not come out,
like I've said from the beginning, is because it is an intelligence operation.
and that's what Acosta said. Leave him alone. Allegedly, I think the story there. We all know that Acosta said he belongs to intelligence. That's above your pay grade. Let him go. What does that mean? This Epstein dude has been involved since Iran-Contra in the 80s. 50 years of this stuff, okay? We don't know what we don't know. And it's not like Trump was a part of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Halfway through 2016. I mean, 35 years of this stuff by the time Trump got there. And Jeffrey Epstein had already pierced that outer circle of the dartboard. Definitely pierced the outer. Contact was made. Does it get middle? There are photographs of them together. Where are we at with it? We don't know what we don't know. But Acosta said he belongs to intelligence. That's at least someone made the claim, but I don't know if there was ever proof given that was said, but that was always attributed to Acosta, saying Epstein belongs to intelligence. That's above your pay grade. Let him go.
The best form of currency right now for control and power in our world is videos or pictures of children being abused.
And that's the currency that people are trading in, not Federal Reserve notes, not Bitcoin, not gold and silver. They're trading in the currency of abuse.
By certain adults. When you have those as leverage, you can control a person to make decisions that will shape nations and truly make the difference.
Make the difference in both political, legal, business, and world economics. The moment you prosecute a pedo, that would be on that list. You lose that leverage on them. Yeah, you lose them as an asset. And you also risk them telling the rest of the story. All right, so that was deep fake quotes. Interesting video to consider there. From the Babylon Bee, Hunter Biden warns that without illegal immigrants, the price of prostitutes and crack will skyrocket. That's kind of funny. Deb wondering if Obama was even a citizen of the U.S. and should have been put in office. Yeah. Make the phone calls. Put the report together like I did. Try to find out who actually verified and, oh, no, you have to be. It says who? Well, it says the documents. All right, well, who enforces it? Well, you call the party and nobody at the party confirmed, or the opposing party. You shared the documents and proved eligibility. That didn't happen. Wasn't here, it wasn't there. Well, who runs the Electoral College? Who makes the, well, they don't verify. And you go deeper and deeper, and then you find stuff where, in his own words, as the Harvard Law Review editor, he says he was born in Kenya, in his own words. And he was the editor of the thing. But no, that wasn't a thing. But somebody in Hawaii saw a document, not a certificate of live birth, but a birth certificate. I guess those are two different documents. One just documents at this moment a human is present. It doesn't tell you where that human was born. It tells you at this moment a human is present, a certificate of live birth. There's a live human here, and we're going to document it with this document and this number. Different from a birth certificate as is my limited understanding. I don't claim to be an attorney here, but I tried to confirm that myself, and it got weirder and weirder with each phone call and email. So yeah, was he even eligible in the first damn place? That's a great question. Truth always rises to the top. Maybe that'd be cool. Some rich people buying their way off that list, allegedly. Yeah, what if big corporations, and you're going to turn them into an America-loving corporation from now on? And guess what? They're going to make money, and they're not going to get sued into oblivion. But you got to twist and negotiate behind the scenes. We got you. You want us to take you out? We'll take you. We can do this the real tough way, the real painful way. Or look at me, I'm your captain now. I don't know. Brian, would you be open to being a guest on this show? From yesterday, called The Social Dig, to counter the narrative that Trump is a pedo. I could have him reach out to. What is the show? I'm not familiar with it. Was that the one you told me to check out? If you have a link to it, if you can, tag me on X. I'll try to connect there. Lake Leon says Mike Benz says he was CIA. And where did Mike Benz come from? Is he misinformation or disinformation? He's everywhere, and he seems to make sense, but do we trust him? Yeah, and then they released the birth certificate. Also, remember when Trump was pushing for all that information to come out, and then bam, guess what? Oh, Osama bin Laden. Great, let's see him. We can't. Huh? You can't make a claim and not. What do you mean? Well, we don't want to upset people. You don't want to upset people? Wasn't the story that he knocked down towers and killed several thousand? Like, yeah, we deserve to see that. Show us. That's pay-per-view. Put that image everywhere as a reminder not to mess with us. Show us. No. That would be insensitive. So we're just going to wrap him in some something, and we're going to toss him into the drink, into the ocean. And then, coincidentally, SEAL Team 6 will suffer a tragic fate where none of them can speak again. Now, were they put into witness relocation? Are there some things that we don't know? You're damn right there are some things we don't know. Could we handle knowing everything even if we were allowed to know it? I don't know. Nick thinks that Mike Benz is CIA. Well, isn't that his story? I don't know. I'm not a Mike Benz expert, but wasn't his story that he did used to work there? Is he former CIA telling you this stuff? Is it like a whistleblower or doing a show, or is he? Where did Mike Benz supposedly come from? I'm sorry, I'm not a Benz expert. I've just watched several of his things, and he makes a lot of sense. But I'm leery of him and Musk and Trump, and really, you should be partially leery of everybody. Don't be too trusting. And it's really you earn the trust that you earn. If you're gonna be upfront and talk about things, and you're not gonna intentionally lead me astray, then I appreciate that. I'll fuck with that. I'll roll with that for a while. I can stay a part of that. They say your reputation, it takes a lifetime to build and a second to lose. Ask a CEO at a Coldplay concert, right? Anyway, Hunter Biden warns that without illegal aliens, the price of prostitutes and crack will skyrocket. Ha ha ha. Toria Brooke telling us, did you hear this awful story? Is this what was happening at Epstein? Because if so, you can't forgive this. So I think hang on, let me change the parameters of the screen. I think on a very important level, we need to understand what was Epstein Island. Was it a Playboy mansion with a bunch of models all over the place? Or was it a house of horrors? There's a big difference in how people process the difference. And when you're hearing, oh, there were no tapes, they didn't have people in compromising positions. Oh, no, it wasn't like that. He just kept throwing parties and people kept showing up. And you're like, why wasn't that reported like that for all those years before? Why is that only happening to come out now? So we see this story in Alabama. Take a listen to how awful this is. Because it's this stuff it's not forgivable. We cannot continue on this path. Like, that's just, it's a non-starter.
Where authorities say 6 children, the youngest only 3 years old, were victimized repeatedly over more than a year. It's an underground storm shelter near the home of William Chase McElroy, one of the men charged with raping and sodomizing the children, as well as kidnapping and human trafficking.
Inside the storm shelter, there were chairs and beds and things of that nature. And the children were drugged by Mr. Trejos and tied to the bed and to the chair and to a pole. And then people would come and pay money to have sex with these children.
Folks, I'm sorry to tell you this story. I don't want to hear this any more than you want to hear it. I really don't. This is where we need Kenneth remind me. Vibe check. Dude, I'm just telling you what's in the news.
District Attorney Brian Jones says there could be more victims and more alleged perpetrators. He says the grand jury has indicted a 4th person, but he can't release that name because that person hasn't been arrested yet. But he says we may never know the full extent of the horrors that happened here.
There are some allegations with individuals that we will have a hard time identifying just because we don't know their names, and the children were...
This is where authorities...
drugged, according to one of the co-defendants, and so they may not be able to recognize or be able to identify anyone.
Jones says many of these details came from some of the defendants themselves. This has been a tough case for investigators and prosecutors, one they've been looking into since the first of the year.
It absolutely infuriates me, but we have to kind of put that aside and just do the job. That's all we can do.
It could be some comfort to investigators and authorities to know that the crimes these defendants are charged with come with a minimum mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
So, if that's what Epstein's up to, which is what some of the allegations are, you just can't let that slide. That can't be the currency that's traded like Ethereum, traded like silver, traded like a Federal Reserve note. So that's what we're trying to. We need to understand the story of what Epstein was. That's what makes it so tough. AF Post reports on Tuesday, 2 federal judges requested further info from the Department of Justice before determining whether to release grand jury transcripts related to Epstein and Maxwell. The court plans to address this motion promptly, but cannot make a decision without additional documentation from the government, the judges stated. Footage is recirculating of former Australian Prime Minister Paul Keating, at the time young. Oh. Okay, this is a strangely worded piece. Footage recirculating of former Australian Prime Minister Paul Keating's young daughter, young at the time. There she is. How young? Is that an 18-year-old woman or is that a kid? I mean, it's not a 5-year-old kid, a 3-year-old like in that previous story. Daughter Catherine leaving Jeffrey Epstein's luxury apartment. Epstein looking very much like a pimp, by the way. Australian Prime Minister Paul Keating's daughter Catherine.
Missed the strange.
Let's look at this and remember what happened at the George H.W. Bush funeral. Remember this moment? We got a lot of puzzle pieces to put together, people. There is a lot happening.
Scene of American nationalist President Donald J. Trump seated with the aging globalist cabal of past presidents and politicians.
Hopefully this music is fine.
It was awkward. But there was something else odd going on.
They all got some documentation.
It was noticed that several of the globalist
And look at her recoiling.
political players.
Her face right there, that looks like the face of the CEO at the Coldplay concert. Oh. That's what that face looks like.
Received an unexpected letter inside of their program. Hillary Clinton was the only one who kept her poker face when looking at the mysterious letter. Former Vice President Joe Biden appeared to be distressed when his wife found his.
Mouth open, her mouth open, going, huh? What? Aghast. That's fair. I've watched this video quite a few times.
Laura Bush had a look of anger and could barely keep from staring at hers. And when she showed it to Jeb Bush,
Here, Jeb, look at this. Watch his face. Worst poker player ever.
as his deceased father was being
He slouches, he slumps, he drops, his hand falls, his whole persona drops here.
carried in front of him,
Hand down. Ugh, like a punch to the gut.
he was distressed enough to take his hand from his heart. And
Look at that look. That's the oh my god look.
he looked rather troubled by what he saw. Missed the strange scene.
And Bush sniveling up like his nostril.
Oh.
Look at the Bush nostril. That's scrunched in. That's a tough to take it all in kind of look.
The internet is abuzz with what
I don't believe that's his normal nostril flare.
these mystery letters are all about. Many who hope to see justice served in our corrupt American system speculate that this could be a foreboding message to America's traitorous first families. One can only hope.
What was the message? What was in that? What did they have? What was this? What is the latest that we think this was? Do we know?
Whatever they were, they certainly appear to be disturbing to those who received them. Oh.
I mean, all right. Let's go back to FBI Director Dan Bongino. Here he goes.
I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. You know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. He uses the gym. I work out in my apartment. But I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., you know, by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean, separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know,
he says my wife is struggling, and he says divorced from my wife, and he goes, no, I don't mean it like that. But I mean, like, could you imagine the wedge that this would drive in between people? How impossible of a job this has got to be.
We love each other, and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightening out the FBI. You're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
I got one more thing. I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know.
You know, you gave up a lot. Why can't we just see the list, you know? Yeah, you've heard the message. We have it all. Well, if they had it all, they should have never let Biden go through 4 years of destruction. It should have been unraveled during that 4 years. That's almost as equally impossible for me to understand. No. We were still building the case. Oh my God. Like there's no, just a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer. Free crab tomorrow, free crab tomorrow, free crab tomorrow. Every time you pull up to the Joe's Crab Shack restaurant on the outside of the building, it says free crab tomorrow. You come back tomorrow, it says free crab tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, it says free crab tomorrow. There's never a today. You had 4 years to stop Biden in his tracks and expose this nonsense. We didn't have to go through Afghanistan. We didn't have to go through 30 million illegal alien invaders. We didn't have to go through so much misery. So if we went through it, all that misery was allowed, or it had to be that way, or it's a bullshit strategy and a bullshit explanation to begin with. It's literally unbelievable. I don't know which one it is. I don't know which one it is. All right, Toria Brooke, looking at multiple countries with ongoing anti-illegal immigration protests occurring at the same time. Ireland, Germany, France, Poland, Spain, and Britain too. The world has taken the Donald Trump approach, and they're standing up and finding their voice. They're saying, you're not going to replace me in my country. Oh, remember there were people that said that in Charlottesville, that you will not replace us. So are you one of them? I'm going to label you something really bad because you're not supposed to be able to talk about that. You can't notice that. You can't say that when you bring in tens of millions of non-citizens, it's going to replace citizens because, yeah, that's how it works. Nope. But if you say that, you're one of these several bad words. Do you want to be a bad word or do you want to play along to get along? That's how insidious the entire RICO thing has been with Obama, Comey, Clinton, Clapper, Brennan, the social media industrial complex, the fake news media, all of it. There's not an area of society it hasn't penetrated. They got their greasy little claws into every segment, and it needs to be extracted. Cut the leg of the dragon off, but you have to slowly remove those. I mean, these are gaping wounds. There's severe damage on the other end of these talons that have gripped into every aspect of our society. Is it possible that when dealing with that level of malevolence and evil, it might take a second to sort a few things out? Do we generally trust Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, and Donald Trump? Do we generally say it feels like their hearts are in the right places? He sure seems to be defending America. I'm a fan of that. Trying to recalibrate what this country is. Oh, well, you know, the numbers of deportations were a lot higher under Obama. Oh, yeah? You mean when hundreds of thousands of people, tens of millions were flooding through our southern border, they were able to deport more than when we have zero people flooding through our southern border? Zero. Yeah, I think it would be a little easier to deport a few more people. Huh. Funny how that works. So just throwing a number out and throwing a data point without context, I think we're missing some key points here. But look at this. These nations have had it with what Barack Hussein Obama has been doing with the non-governmental organizations, George Soros, USAID, all of these, you have Catholic charities, Jewish charities, this, that, the other, all to take non-citizens and dump them into the sovereign nations to permanently change their demographics, to permanently change their voting blocks, to permanently change their culture, permanently change their politics, permanently change their laws, permanently change those nations forever. It's an overthrow. It's an invasion. It's modern day colonization. Hundreds of thousands of missing unaccompanied children. Hundreds of thousands of missing unaccompanied children. Hand it off to Joe Biden, the creep that touches all the little kids. You tell me anything about that makes you comfortable sleeping at night? No. How about Tulsi Gabbard? There you go. At this point, I don't trust anyone, says Deb, except partially Tulsi. And I will say this. I've talked about my brother a few times on today's show. My brother loved Tulsi Gabbard. Huge Tulsi Gabbard fan. He had reservations about Trump, frustrations about Trump, and that's fine. I'm not in a cult. We can break down every single policy, and there's plenty of bump stocks and red flag laws. Those are non-starters, and Trump walked right into those traps. And you're like, how do you not have the instincts to see that coming a mile away? Well, because he's a New York Democrat. But I think he's been coached up on a lot of these positions over the years. John Rich had to set him straight. He's like, you know, John, when I'm out there, 30,000 people, you've never seen crowds like this for a political candidate, but some of them boo when I talk about the big, beautiful jab. Why are they booing? John Rich said permission to speak frankly, and he dumped it all out on the table. And he told Lindsey Graham, you shut your mouth unless you're, you know, I'm in the middle of saying something and you're not going to interrupt me. I forget how he did that, but it was pretty badass how he tells the story. Ugh, could you imagine Lindsey Graham trying to interrupt you? Nope. Line in the sand. Thank you very much. My brother loved Tulsi Gabbard. I think RFK too. RFK as well. Definitely Tulsi. And so the fact that Tulsi's teamed up with Trump to expose all this treason, and It's an obvious case of treason. Ongoing RICO. They all thought they'd get away with it. No, that's just, that's just the Chicago way. It's, it's just politics. No. It's treason. We're redefining our terms. Straight up treason. But look, here's the effect that Trump has had on the world. All these other nations are rising. Their culture, their traditions, their expectations. Would this be happening if President Trump didn't reclaim America and start fixing the problem that's been happening intentionally from the Obama deep state, colonizing the sovereign nations of Ireland, Germany, France, Poland, Spain, and Britain too? Russian press director for Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Maria Zakharova, commented on Italy's decision to cancel the first concert for famed conductor Valery Gergiev due to the musician's close ties to President Putin. Says, do not cast pearls before swine.
How important is Philippines
What's going on in the Philippines? We had an Asia trade deal.
In that world where the president is in Asia looking and trying to reset over there and do some good tariff deals?
It's at this time that we have the commander-in-chief trying to negotiate a global game of risk, world domination, a global game of chess, trying to sort this stuff out.
It's more important than many other countries because it's strategic militarily in the narrative going on with China, and we need access to that landmass if we're going to talk about, protecting our interests in Taiwan and that region. Also a good trade partner. A lot of manufacturing is moved out of China there. We do some business there. It would be good to have a reciprocal tariff that's low with the Philippines. It would be better. It's a good country to do business with, and it's been friendly for a long time to the U.S. So you want those metrics in deals. And I think Trump made it very clear that it's more than just trade. So many of these countries now are getting tied up into the China narrative in that region. It's right. Because we're not really in a trade dispute.
How important is Philippines?
Only with China. We're in an economic war, an AI war, an IP theft war, access to capital markets war.
Intellectual property theft is a big problem. The fact that we rolled over and took this instead of renegotiated and made sure that our American companies weren't going to get stolen from and taken advantage of, probably for a kickback or a profit, allegedly, potentially. I mean, that's just criminal. It just makes you think that the people who were in charge did not care about us at all. At least feels like President Trump is trying to put American interests ahead of somebody personally making some more money.
And, this is a chess piece in that. And I think that's what you heard today. I always find these press conferences are a little weird for the country that's been invited because they end up being a much broader narrative than just Philippines business. And that's a little unusual, but that's the way Trump operates. He is watch the sausage being made and roll the cameras. Viewed only with China.
Yep. He works in the treason stuff when the people in the Philippines are in the office. Officer Tatum says Obama needs to be held accountable. Do you agree or disagree?
Obama needs to be held accountable.
Who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation?
It would be President Obama. He started it.
That was with the people in the Philippines right there. And yeah, Trump is right. President Trump is right. Obama started this. Obama, Clinton, Perkins Coie, Steele dossier, Clapper, Comey, Brennan, like they started it. And this is not what we can allow. You can't allow the weaponization of government in America. And they have gone completely overboard.
And Biden was there with him. And Comey was there. And Clapper, the whole group was there. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined.
There was a shift, a 180-degree shift from the intelligence community's assessment leading up to the election to the one that President Obama directed be produced after Donald Trump won the election that completely contradicted those assessments that had come previously. The fact is that they used already discredited information like the Steele dossier. They knew it was discredited at that time, yet they used it as a source for this document that they claim to have high confidence in.
There should have never been this much investigatory efforts in the first mother-freaking place. Because according to the documents that Trump said is that they knew there was nothing there before they started investigating. And you can say they investigated and there ended up being nothing there. But what did you create to get to that point? We do know the Steele dossier was fake. We do know that Hillary Clinton's campaign paid for the investigation. That was fake. How was it fake, Brandon? Because before they did the investigation, they knew there was nothing there. Donald Trump's family was investigated. Donald Trump's son was investigated. They did 3 years of investigating into Russia collusion.
Yep.
They indicted Trump on Russia collusion on television.
They essentially stole President Trump's first administration from him. And some have made the case that he should get another term after this one to compensate for the term that was stolen from him. Now, maybe that's a little, maybe that's a little aggressive. Maybe that's something that some people wouldn't consider going along with. But he was actively engaged in a coup. His own government was rejecting him. His own government had become the treasonous actors that we're supposed to identify and punish.
All of these things that they did to create this persona, they attempted to influence the support of Donald Trump and the Republican Party. That's election interference.
Shocking. Acute. Yeah, I'll put that as the comment. Shocking. Once again, the Dems accuse MAGA of the stuff they are actually guilty of. Shocking. That is kind of the standard thing that happens. There's an Illinois law in the book, and there should be no laws like this in America anyway.
Several days since, trying to find a way to get them to hold him. But it's impossible with this Safety Act.
So the heartbreaking mother, she lives in Illinois, living with the consequences of no cash bail laws. Her daughter was found dead in April, but an illegal who was now in federal custody was initially allowed to walk free. Hours after being charged with concealing her death, among other crimes. So
that Mexican national spent the past 3 months as a free man, despite being charged with hiding a missing woman's body in a bleach-filled trash can, because under Illinois' no cash bail law, that is not a detainable offense.
A non-detainable offense. Are you out of your mind? You're holding the body. You have to assume that you harmed the person. That's a clear and present danger to the community.
That reality has turned daily life into a nightmare for Jennifer Boss, the mother of the victim, Megan Boss, who is now using her daughter's case to call for changes to this law.
It's infuriating to find out that he had her in his backyard in a trash can for 2 months and went on with his life as if nothing happened. I blame J.B. Pritzker, really. I mean, when it comes right down to it, this is his thing. This is what he wanted.
The illegal immigrant, Jose Luis Mendoza Gonzalez, was ultimately arrested by ICE this weekend for being in the country illegally. But that only happened after Jennifer shared her daughter's story directly with President Trump at the White House last week. This case is prompting a number of local officials to question the state's no cash bail policy known as the Safety Act, including
Safety Act. Can you believe that? Yeah, they're going to label something like that, letting dangerous people out, call it the Safety Act. The nerve.
The mayor of Megan Boss's hometown, who now plans to present a proclamation calling on state leaders to enact reforms to the law.
If that's not a detainable offense, I don't know what is. I think that the state of Illinois, just based on this instance, they should be looking, at immediately either repealing portions of this act or doing some type of reform.
Every single day since, trying to find a way to get them to hold him.
It's just, you know, at some point you have to flee blue cities and flee blue states.
President Trump announced that not a single
This is Politically Brunette.
penny in federal dollars will go towards the
Alexandra M. Macedo, Assembly District 33.
California high-speed rail. After 17 years and $14 billion spent, the high-speed fail has only managed to start construction from a field to an orchard.
That's such madness. Look, I lived in a neighborhood that had a train built. One of the above ground, you know, one of the connected Santa Monica to Staples Center, crypto.com arena. You can do it. You just have to want to do it. Takes a little bit of time, but then it's up and then it's done. This is just insane. Like, this was never and by the way, you don't need to go from Los Angeles north to the middle of nowhere. You need one from Los Angeles into Las Vegas. That should just be hop on a train and one goes every hour and you just loop them. That's a project worth doing. I don't know if they ever intended to build this.
Not a foot of track has been laid. The state needs to stop wasting taxpayers' precious monies. The high-speed rail is not salvageable. Voters were hoodwinked in 2008. They were promised a fully funded San Francisco to Los Angeles system with matching contributions from the federal government and private sector, a $34 billion price tag, and completion by 2020. Yep, you heard that right. This project was scheduled to be completed 5 years ago. Today, the project cost has skyrocketed to $128 billion with no clear path to completion. The state of California has higher priorities, like water infrastructure and
Anyway, you get the point. They're saying Newsom hasn't stopped funding this high-speed high-speed rail. You know, it's Democrat mismanagement. And it's just, you can see it coming a mile away. All right, here's Tulsi Gabbard, Gateway Pundit reporting. By the way, go watch my interview with Jim Hoft, the founder of Gateway Pundit, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Republican convention this year at a super cool spy restaurant. Super cool place. Perhaps the coolest backdrop I've had for an interview. On Gateway Pundit here, Tulsi fires back at Barack Obama, says she will be releasing more Trump-Russia hoax documents tomorrow to refute Obama's statement. So buckle up. I'll do indictment time button. Indictment time. Once again, hey, nobody ever said the Russians hacked the election.
Hacking the election to elect Trump is the end of our democracy. Votes were definitely affected. Russia hacked the election to tilt it to Mr. Trump.
The Russians definitively.
By the way, it's definitively. The people absorbed this and they voted accordingly, and they developed Trump derangement syndrome because they thought he was a Putin puppet Manchurian candidate. Perhaps like Obama, maybe. At least the Manchurian candidate part.
Hacked the election.
Russia did hack the election. No doubt. The Russians hacked the election.
Yes, Russia hacked the election.
Fact, Russia hacked the election.
If you can get them to accept that Russia hacked the election, see if you can get them to accept who won the Civil War.
You see, because if you don't agree with us, you're literally in favor of slavery, or what is the implication, Stephen Colbert?
He admits it. It casts a shadow on his victory over Hillary Clinton.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
No. Russia hacked the election.
It was never a real story, and they all knew it. Knowingly and intentionally, they kept pushing the lies.
Russia hacked the election.
Let's be clear. Russia hacked the election.
No, let's not.
Definitively. Russia hacked the election, and Russia is doing it again now.
Good grief. They doubled down on stupid with their lies. This is all knowingly and intentionally.
Election-related cyber hacking.
Cyber hacking of U.S. elections. Cyber hacking of the election.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
It was a full court press to stage a coup to remove the sitting president of the United States. That's called treason. They weren't reporting on a story. They were regurgitating lies, known lies.
Russia was cyber hacking the election.
The CIA, the FBI, NSA.
All of these intelligence organizations.
17 intelligence agencies.
All.
Oh, like 51 intelligence officials said Hunter Biden's laptop had the classic earmarks of Russian propaganda.
Conclude that Russia hacked the election.
If we find out that Donald Trump just theoretically was colluding with Russia while they were hacking the election, that is completely impeachable.
This dossier alleged a conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian effort to hack the election.
Oh, that's projection. Yeah. Oh, there's a conspiracy. All right. Except they're accusing Trump of what they're guilty of doing.
Director of National Intelligence, the head of the National Security Agency, the head of the FBI, all of these intelligence experts saying Russia hacked the intelligence. Russia hacked.
Has his voice always been that nasally? Has it always been that nasally? Wow.
The election.
The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, I mean, they've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong, you have to believe they're all involved in an elaborate conspiracy to get Donald Trump, which seems a little far-fetched.
No, it's perfectly fetched. Kevin Kiley here in California says, of the $100 million raised at the Celebrity Fire Aid concert, none actually went to LA fire victims. Instead, the money went to nonprofits, many having nothing to do with fire relief. Yep, that's their graph. That's what they do. Over and over. It's like their standard narrative. Funnel it to the NGOs. Kevin Kiley asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to open an investigation. Please do. Yep, globalists are losing control. Europe wants mass deportations. Nationalism is rapidly growing in every nation. Nobody wants to be invaded by criminals who are going to abuse their women. Imagine that. Every moment of migrant crime is a double-barreled middle finger to you and your family and your community. How long? How long are you supposed to sit and watch that? Well, it's not all of them. They can all go, and we can slow down on a proper screening system if you want to come back. Everybody out. Security breach. Everybody clear the facility. We're going to scan and check underneath all the seats. Everyone out. It's a security breach. It's intentional.
Nobody wants.
Here's one. Mark Andreessen. He's going to tell you why the deck is stacked against rural America, and it's causing a political divide in our country.
To talk about, but I've started to talk about the intersection of DEI and immigration that has really, I think, warped, our perceptions on high-skilled immigration over the last 50 years. You look at like the foreign enrollment rates of the top universities, which went from, like 2 or 3 or 4% 50 years ago to whatever, 27 or 30 or 50.
And Columbia's over half, right?
70% or whatever it is. And so there's been this massive transformation in who gets educated. And then there's been this massive transformation of who gets admitted through through affirmative action. And then, as we now know it, DEI. And again, this goes straight to the political divide in the country, which is if you're parents of a kid where I grew up and you've got a smart kid and you think you're going to get them into a top university in this country, like you are fooling yourself. There is this really fundamental question, which is like what level of untapped talent exists in this country that a combination of DEI and immigration have basically cut out of the loop for the last 50 years. And how long can we have this, story to everybody in the Midwest and the South that says, sorry, you're, because of historical oppression, your kids are SOL. Nobody wants to talk about, but I've started to talk about the intersection of DEI and immigration that has really, I think, warped, our perceptions on high-skilled immigration over the last 50 years. You look at like the foreign enrollment rates of the top universities, which went from...
I was going to say something and then I had a cough. I was still sipping on my coffee, so I had to mute it.
Like 2 or 3 or 4% 50 years ago to whatever, 27 or 30 or 50.
And Columbia's over half, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a reconfiguration of the United States. Either that's something we voted for or it's not. And they don't want to undo that, so, what lengths would they go to keep President Trump out? Because he's standing in the way of this globalist agenda to take away American national sovereignty and permanently, we're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. said Obama.
I understand the personal pain that Hunter Biden is experiencing on all
Blowback to the Hunter Biden interview. He understands the personal pain, but
sorts of fronts. But I don't think it's constructive right now to engage in this backward-looking, finger-pointing.
Well, ignoring the problem isn't going to make it go away. There's a growing insurgency on the left. You got the bitter Biden faction and the squad and their commie Mondami wing. There's a civil war brewing, and every Democrat's getting drafted whether they like it or not.
There's a civil war in America. Like, we're undoing what Obama has been up to for 12 years. There's a lot.
Democrats are losing so much blood from all this backstabbing that they're sitting on death's door. Weak, woke, and broke. Look at that. The DNC can't even raise money anymore. The Clinton vets say it's getting embarrassing. They would know. Quote, constipated, leaderless, confused, a cracked out clown car, divided. These are the words I hear my fellow Democrats using to describe our party as of late. The truth is, they're not wrong. The Democratic Party is in shambles. What have Democrats been doing for the last 6 months besides singing, dancing, firebombing Teslas and pretending to care about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah.
They've spent more time talking about Stephen Colbert than the cost of living and health care. If Trump's really a dictator and destroying democracy, why are Democrats having margaritas with illegals?
That's just my lack of faith in the Democrats. You know what I mean? I just don't see them having the team or the message to win in the midterms. I think we've seen and realized that Trump being bad is not good enough. Mm-hmm. Trump being a liar is not good enough.
You got to offer something better.
That's it.
I understand the personal pain that Hunter Biden.
The left is a mess. You don't really want to see Republicans with unforced errors. You don't really want to see Massey arguing with Trump. You'd rather see them working together on stuff.
I don't really.
But yeah, Hunter Biden goes on and he says, oh, you got a problem with illegal aliens. Screw you. Who's going to cook your food and clean your hotel rooms? Who will be my personal servants, he says. Tom Homan's got a message to the sanctuary cities and that type of attitude.
Care what the former first drug addict thinks. I just thank God every morning I wake up, we got President Trump in the Oval Office. And because of President Trump, in 7 weeks, we got the most secure border in this nation's history. And now we're arresting public safety threats and national security threats every day across this country. We've already arrested 3 times the number of criminals that Biden did during the same time frame. And President Trump has committed 2 weeks ago to prioritize sanctuary cities because of what you just said. In California, Illinois, and New York, I said it during a press conference the other day, we're going to flood the zone. We're going to send hundreds of additional ICE agents to these cities. If they don't want to help us and get the bad guy in the county jail, then we're going to flood the neighborhoods until we find that guy. I don't really care what the former first drug addict thinks.
The former first drug addict. Nice line from Tom Homan. All right, as we're talking about Obama, this is a relevant moment here. Dave Smith talking about how suddenly during Obama's term, like right around the time of his second term, everything sort of went haywire. I'll have a little bit more flexibility after my next election, he told the Russians, by the way. Remember that one? But what changed around this time, around the midpoint of Obama's first of 3 2 terms? Around the midpoint of Obama's first and second terms, not his third term. There's a better way to say that. I can't think of it at the moment, but you get what I'm saying.
How many times the word racism was mentioned?
On the Patrick Bet David podcast. How many times did the media mention racism?
And around 2012,
doggone music. It's going to pick up the music. Around 2012, it shoots up. Social justice shoots up. Everyone's using it. Transgenderism shoots up. White privilege shoots up. Everybody, as if coordinated, they all start talking about, they forced this on us. Why are we having these conversations now? The people did not wake up one day and decide we want to have a national conversation about chicks with dicks. That didn't happen, says Dave Smith. It wasn't organic. It was all one of the most powerful people decided, this is what we're going to talk about right now. Because it's the perfect look. When you're failing on policy, you pivot to a culture war. and you hit at each other, so they're fighting each other. In this country, we had an Occupy Wall Street movement where leftists were standing outside of big banks screaming, we're the 99%. Right-wingers had their populist Tea Party, outraged about the bailout of big banks, unsustainable debt and government spending. They don't like that. That's not what the powers that be like. Abortion, not a very important issue. But us fighting about it, that doesn't scare anyone at the Federal Reserve. It doesn't scare anyone at the CIA. They don't care if you fight about that. They love you fighting over transgender bathrooms. I just gave it the Obama voice. Obviously, Dave Smith doesn't sound like that. Yeah, third term from his basement for sure. But that's what it was. Keep us distracted, fighting with each other, right? I would have played it in his own words, but the music was too loud. Got to watch that. I'm trying to cut down on those infringements. Here's Representative Tim Burchett about the Russia collusion hoax, leading right to the top. And what is going on with the treason?
The speaker calling former President
Good grief, music again. Do I risk it?
Barack Obama and Comey and Clapper and all these idiots to testify in front of you guys under oath.
Under oath on Russiagate. You ready for that? You want it. Tim Burchett says 100%. Barack Hussein Obama is the ringleader. Hillary Clinton was right there with him.
Sleepy Joe Biden, Comey, Clapper, the whole group, and they tried to rig an election, and they got caught.
They have the memos from this meeting, apparently, and
memos from the meeting, one side or the other. They're going to turn on Obama or he's going to turn on them. Just take one person, that multi-level meeting of people thinking or afraid to go to the federal penitentiary. That's not some weekend tennis camp. That's the real deal. America needs to stick with Trump on this issue and keep pursuing it. It's aiding and abetting of a crime. As a sitting president, he should have been the one coming out saying, hey, we uncovered what's happening with this dossier is fake and American people shouldn't buy it. He didn't. They helped create this whole BS lie about Trump. Russia, this is the Washington sewer that I've talked to you and I've talked to multiple times other people about. She broke the law, Hillary. She mishandled classified information as Secretary of State. Because she was running against Trump, they pushed it all under the rug. Somebody needs to pay for that one too, Tim. Again, you got a crime and a cover-up, and this cover-up goes much deeper. That was my Tim Burchett impersonation. I don't know if I can play this for you. Maybe. Did I try to get away with a moment of this? This is T-Pain doing a cover of Ozzy Osbourne War Pigs. Kind of unexpected cover. I love unexpected covers. Anyway, check that one out. I can't play you the whole thing. Go watch it. The best cover of War Pigs ever. Why didn't you guys call me? Ozzy Osbourne tweeted in January of 24. He loved it. All right, Joey Manarino here says the Democrat Party had 4 years to release the Epstein files. They never said a single word about protecting children. They had a pedophile in the White House who showered with his own daughter. They never said a single word about protecting children. They allowed pedophiles into women's sports and women's bathrooms, and they never said a single word about protecting children. Don't fall for their act now. Democrats don't care about children unless they're molesting them. Damn. Joey Manarino off the top shelf. Do you agree or disagree with Joey Manarino? Wow. Jeff Daniels says, I still think about Kamala and how I think she would have been a good choice. I don't care what they say, because she would have done what Lincoln did. Liz Cheney would have been Secretary of State. Filthy Mouth at the bottom here says, well, now we know who dumber was. That's so funny. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent demanding a thorough review of the entire Federal Reserve System. Audit the Fed. All these PhDs over there, I don't even know what they do. Trump lays it out here. Just don't let him forget.
Don't let them forget. It's so important. Obama cheated on the election. Look, the camera just went off. Obama, the red light just went off. Can you believe these people, how bad they are? Obama cheated. When they give you all the nonsense, Obama cheated and his people cheated, but he was there. You ever hear this? They talk about, if they ever even mention it, they never mention his name. Just the opposite with me. But they only mention my name. They don't mention any of you guys. They don't mention Tom. They don't mention Steve. They don't mention our great speaker. They mention Trump all the time. I'd like to have them mention you. But remember this, Obama cheated on the election. And we have it cold, hard, blue, and it's getting even more so because the stuff that's coming in is not even believable. So, and you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate. Just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly. But I want to thank all of you.
That was C-SPAN aired.
Again, once again, this is an incredible job. Remember, don't.
A lot of stuff is happening at once.
It took him less than 2 minutes to reveal who has been behind the radicalization of American education.
How long has America been indoctrinating our own people to turn into the apparatus that would push stuff like this?
Our education system is based off of something called critical pedagogy and has been since the 1990s.
Critical pedagogy. This is real Michelle Tafoya.
It really got implemented in full force, though, after 2015's Every Student Succeeds Act.
They took over our colleges of education by the mid-90s. Critical pedagogy is derived from the ideas of a Marxist named Paulo Freire, who was a Brazilian. Paulo Freire's idea was called education for liberation. Always fear that word, liberation, with communist movements now. And his idea was what you'll do, you'll use the national educational material, a math lesson, reading lesson, or whatever, writing lesson, it doesn't matter, history, science, you name it, is an excuse to set up a political conversation in the classroom. And the point of the political conversation was derived from Mao Zedong's mass line, where you find out what's already agitating the masses, you spin it into communism, and you feed it back to them in order to radicalize them. He called it conscientiation, and the idea was to awaken them to a critical consciousness that would make them into socialists, that would make them want to rebel and revolt against the existing system. So that's what the accusation is here. We got to fix our system. Here's Gary Franchi reporting. It says, since we're now exposing Obama, let us not forget about this huge story that came out during Trump's first administration about the execution of SEAL Team 6. And then the story very quickly disappeared. You remember that story. And so my question is, were they thrown into witness protection because it was such a high profile thing? Or did they know that the raid was BS as presented and they had to be silenced like an Obama chef so that dead men could tell no tales? That was the big conversation now, and we're having that conversation now. Back then and now. Now we have a little bit more perspective. What's most likely? It says here, Gary Franchi says, CIA whistleblower Alan Harrow, sorry, 3 names, Alan Harrow Parrott, exposed Obama and gang for the alleged execution, then gave all the audio and video evidence to the first Trump admin. Check out that video if you wish. Representative Yvette Clark, Democrat, New York, says, I need more migrants in my district for redistricting purposes. They artificially inflate the numbers of people they say are living in their city so they can have higher representation in Congress than they should. Because, by the way, only citizens should count in the census for representation. Otherwise, you're just encouraging them to keep flooding the zone, flooding their communities with more and more people. Doesn't matter if they're poor, doesn't matter if they're contributing, doesn't matter if they're criminals, known terrorists in their communities. And if you abuse kids or women, or, you're just a general drain on society, causing problems wherever you go, yeah. They're not even filtering for the worst of the worst. All for redistricting purpose. Here's a security guard in Anchorage, Alaska, blasting an active shooter outside a bar. Let's watch.
Details about what happened, but we know it was caught on Gaslight's camera system. That's what you're seeing right now. Gaslight's owner tells us the situation did not start in the bar that night. He says security approached two people who were standing outside the bar when they realized something wasn't right.
When we saw these guys coming, we radioed all our staff, all our security staff. Say, hey, these guys, there's something.
You got to always kind of keep your head on a swivel and just look, if a car comes barreling down this sidewalk, is there somewhere I could jump? If you get a spidey sense that something's off, you need to be aware instantly. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your community.
Something wrong with these guys. So we were
at 2:50 a.m. Leroy Manogiamanu, who had been denied entry to the bar earlier, returned and opened fire, wounding 2 security guards and a female patron. One of the guards, a military vet, retrieved a tactical rifle from a vehicle.
On alert. And so we brought staff to the front, and when just before the shooting started, one of my staff was able to retrieve his weapon from his car that was also parked out front. And the shooting started, and my guy was able to shoot the guy and take him out.
Tell me how they're doing now.
Whoa!
They're both doing well.
Dude, he was ready to go.
One was,
I mean, he had that rifle aimed down, and when that shooting started, he pulled up and ended that threat immediately. Well trained. Wow. Bravo.
Struck in the hand, and he was released from the hospital right away. The other that was confronting the shooter directly, he was shot 7 times. And he's doing very well. And apparently no vitals were struck. And
how fortunate.
They expect him to be released today. I talked to him this morning. He's pretty much proud of what he did because he thinks he saved lives. And that's exactly what the police told him as well.
Haven't released many details about what happened, but we know it was caught on gas.
All right. Always stay frosty. That's a good reminder I'd like to leave you. CMS reports 2.8 million Americans potentially enrolled in duplicate government health programs, Ms. Muckraker says. By the way, a lot of that is probably just people being signed up for various programs, and they move to different places, and the system should automatically update. If you go to another state and you sign up for something, it should just show that. That doesn't necessarily prove there's fraud, but it does prove that there could be zombie accounts floating around that you could then change and relink to the wrong people. So yeah, we need to remove the potentiality of zombie accounts. But it's not to say that 2.8 million instances of abuse. It's just a sloppy accounting system at the very least that needs addressed. Ghislaine Maxwell likely to strike a deal with Trump DOJ over Epstein intelligence, claims former Epstein attorney Alan Dershowitz. Speaker Mike Johnson says Republicans won't be lectured on transparency by the same Democrats who orchestrated one of the most shameless and dangerous cover-ups in history, Biden's obvious mental and physical decline. When they claim they're for transparency, roll the tape. They lied to the American people. And the context added, over half the sponsors of HRES 581, the current effort to release the Epstein files, are Republicans. Thomas Massey says, why are you running cover for an underage trafficking ring and pretending this is a partisan issue? MAGA voted for this. Former attorney for Jeffrey Epstein, Roy Black, has died, per Associated Press. Wow, another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Oh, Amber's here. Oh, hello, Amber. Hey, look over there. It's an election from 9 years ago. What is? It's an ongoing RICO conspiracy. You saw the lawfare on President Trump in 2024, trying to throw him in jail. Yes, our friend is back. Let's wave at our sock puppet account. Hello. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Yeah, it's not about 9 years ago. It's about a 9-year coup to overthrow the sitting president, to then vote his opponent in, and then frame Trump for an insurrection. and then make it so that he couldn't run for office. Oh, yeah, Insurrection Act. What? Let's go over here peacefully, patriotically, make our voices heard, because we're not buying Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, these North Carolina, the fraud states. And no courts were taking up the act, and they're just trying to hurry up and rubber stamp him out of there in a coup to remove him. Yeah, culminating in Butler. Yeah, doing everything they can to get rid of him. So it's not 9 years ago, it's current. An insane birthday card. Yeah, show me something corroborative on a birthday card. I challenge it. Democrats, I would love to hear it. China, Russia. Yeah, every country would probably try to influence every election. See, the thing is, Obama and the deep state actually did influence it, working with Hillary. They still couldn't beat Trump. They were so salty about it that they sabotaged him in a coup through impeachment to remove him. And then it continued into the lawfare, changing the laws just to try to throw him in a cage for the rest of his life because he was so dangerous to get in the way of your scheme to destroy America. No thanks. Bless your heart, Amber. Well said, Lake Leon. Anyway, Roy Black, a former attorney to Jeffrey Epstein, has died. He was very old, 80-something, I think. What? Australian government paying a baby bonus for late-term abortions? After 20 weeks, you get a $4,200 check for ending the life? What is that? So they could steal the body parts and use it? Like, what the hell is going on? You can be for autonomy over your own body, but also think that there's something weird about baby mills and trafficking parts. I mean, come on, people. That's a story I got to look into a little bit. MJ Truth Ultra, do you know that Kamala Harris helped protect a baby organ harvesting operation and prosecuted the journalist who exposed it? David Daleiden, journalist, went undercover for 2 years exposing a baby organ harvesting ran by Planned Parenthood, says MJ Truth Ultra. In 2015, Planned Parenthood affiliates told agents they'd like the computers used to produce the videos seized. 16, Attorney General Kamala Harris had a secret meeting with Planned Parenthood officials. 2 weeks later, Kamala's state DOJ agents raided David Daleiden's home looking for these videos. Kamala, as California Attorney General, prosecuted the journalist David Daleiden and refused to prosecute any of the criminals with Planned Parenthood who were literally selling baby organs. Wow. David and his associates at CMP were hit with a multi-million-dollar punishment for exposing Planned Parenthood organ harvesting operation. All right. That, according to MJ Truth Ultra, in the videos, they allegedly discussed collection of body parts from aborted fetuses, how they do it not to ruin the specimen. Over lunch, negotiating prices for fetal tissue. I have a fair amount of colleagues who generate a lot of income doing this. I want a Lamborghini. You remember that one. Adjusting medical procedures to preserve body parts for research groups to purchase. It's all a matter of line items. Yeah, don't destroy the inventory. You got to be careful with how you do this. University of Pittsburgh was taking the scalps of 5-month-old aborted babies and grafting them onto lab rats. The study was funded by the NIAID. Yeah, like the Fauci torture chambers. Allegedly. All right. Aesthetica reporting that the numbers in the tech layoffs are even worse than imaginable. 75,000 jobs cut year to date, close to 40% increase year over year from an already sky-high number in 24. Meanwhile, H-1B petitions hit the yearly cap in 6 months, and 82% of all new tech jobs have gone to foreigners instead of Americans. Offshoring has hit record highs with the entire shadow economies popping up all over the world, replacing American tech jobs and leading to office closures in America. Eerily similar to the wave of manufacturing jobs that we sent overseas to China and Mexico that ended up hollowing out our middle class. The great tech replacement is here. Silicon Valley is playing a very dangerous game. I don't think these people realize what they're doing. You might be able to get away with replacing lower paying jobs with foreigners for a period of time, Americans don't really want to do those jobs. But when you take away all the good jobs and give them to foreigners and remove the possibility of upward mobility for young Americans, you are fucking with something you will never be able to take back. Trump has had inconsistent H-1B visa, America First agenda, and business demands. Ulta Beauty did a makeup collab with this dude pretending to be a girl. Libs of TikTok says. Oh, yeah, by the way, Wall Street Apes reporting that the Biden administration set up a hotline so that unaccompanied minors, you know, the kids that we care about, they could call this number if they had trouble with the strangers they were being placed with. Guess what? 65,000 calls to this hotline allegedly went unanswered. So if you're telling this committee that the Biden admin, while they were letting off all these unaccompanied minors into the country, and as we've talked about today, they weren't keeping track of them, they issued these kids a hotline they could call if they had trouble with the sponsor family that they were placed with, and you're saying 65,000 calls to this hotline designated to protect these kids went unanswered? Is that what you're telling this committee? Her response? Yes, sir. Democrats are literally evil. How could they possibly win another election again? President Trump wins his lawsuit against 60 Minutes, securing $36 million. Dr. McCary breaks down how the Trump admin is shifting course, reforming SNAP, improving school meals, and investing in NIH research on root causes of disease, not just symptom management. From NIH to FDA, we're focused on prevention, not just prescriptions. Look, I mean, Trump is getting most of these big stories right. And Trump secures a historic $550 billion trade deal with Japan. U.S. Olympic Committee bans, by the way, these are all stories here from Miss Muckraker. It's a good account to follow. I'll give you a quick snapshot of some stories you want to at least know are happening. Then you can do a deep dive later. U.S. Olympic Committee bans transgender women, bans men from claiming to be women and competing against women in American Olympics. Against American women in the Olympics, following President Trump's executive order from February. So guys claiming to be women cannot beat up on women in the Olympics. Bravo. I can't believe we have to say this stuff, you know? I'm glad we're sorting it out, but my God, could the Biden admin have been any more backward? I like that. Agreed. Here's a video if you want to watch it. This guy, police smash a window of an innocent man. They give you the proper context or some additional context if you want to watch that. I haven't dug into that story too much. I'll wait to see how it shakes out. It's not particularly interesting to me. Oh, but by the way, check this out. I think this is in direct. As a direct answer, I think he says it in this interview, to a question asked in our chat, I think. Let's take a listen. Ozzy Osbourne.
Proudest thing I have in my heart is the fact that Black Sabbath wasn't a band that was created by some big boss mogul guy, that with 4 guys and said, let's have a go, we have a dream, and it came true beyond our wildest expectations.
Let's have a dream and have it come true beyond our wildest expectations. May we all live long enough to witness that happen, to watch that manifest in our lives. No matter what it is you're doing, wherever you're doing it.
Black Sabbath are credited with creating heavy metal. When did you realize you'd invented it?
Bands would come to me and say, man, it was, you're really an inspiration for us to start a band. And for the longest time I thought, why do they keep saying this? When you're in the eye of a storm, you don't realise it's as bad as it, or as good or as bad as it is. And so, looking inside out, all I was trying to do was survive. But I mean, it's all down to the audience. If the audience ain't there, you ain't got a gig. I mean, I can remember playing the Crown pub in Birmingham at Henry's Blues, and I'm thinking, well, this is good for a couple of years. Drink a few beers and have a jam. We get to Europe, and that was the beginning of the most incredible adventure I could ever think of. One of the...
So that's Ozzy in his words. That's not the clip I was thinking of. But yeah, I mean, just may we all have a dream and watch it exceed our wildest expectations. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. I've got several dreams, and I'd like to turn them into things that manifest beyond my wildest expectations. Live from America TV says, an internal probe at the World Economic Forum found that its founder, Klaus Schwab, engaged in a pattern of workplace misconduct over the past decade, including unauthorized spending by him and his wife, bullying behavior, and inappropriate treatment of female staffers. Well, you know, these are the types of stories that will almost always come out anywhere. Benny Johnson saying DNI Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, declassifies reports showing intelligence had no proof. President Putin backed President Trump in 2016, but under Obama's unusual orders, released false intelligence suggesting that he did. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. Well, thank you all for being here. So much news to cover. Let's just see what's trending. Roy Cooper running for Senate and Brian Kemp isn't. A radical Democrat. Okay. Well, whatever. I'll be back again tomorrow at noon, unpacking the news. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. Cartwheel time. Cartwheel time. Oh, that's what happened. I switched the... There we go. All right, everyone. The New American Media is in several places. I hope you follow us. At the bottom of the screen, we're on Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, D Live, and YouTube. Search the New American Media. Hit like, hit subscribe. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. We're on X at American_Media_. Subscribe to our podcast, The Agree to Disagree Show, on Spotify and Apple. We're on Patreon at the New American Media. Venmo and Cash App. Tip jars at BrianEngelman, ENGELMAN. And on PayPal, tip jar is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com is how you can find us. Shout out to everybody in chat. Lake Leon, Nick Adams, Deb from SAC, Lake Leon, all the peeps, Unholy Hoax. Don't tell me I'm forgetting people. We need to do someone needs to check in on Kenneth. Haven't seen him in a minute. Make sure he's still doing well. David, of course. Oh, and Amber. Amber, our hate follower. Our sock puppet account. Thank you, Amber, as well. All right. I'm going to sign out. Sign out on the other side. Because I'll sign out and go to the other side.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.